Welcome to the Oversoul Shaman King podcast. I am VLord GTZ, and with me I have my usual co-hosts, Marion and Sakaki.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, sold out here. Yo.
But also with us today, we have our good friend, huge expert on Shonen Jump, and just a general comic-loving enthusiast, Maxy Bee.
That's right, it's me, someone who has given too much of their life over to comics, including Shaman King, and it's definitely not done me any harm. You guys are in for a treat with your reefer of this series.
Yeah, I think at this point we've realized that once you're stuck into K's wild ride, you can never escape.
Mostly because he never finishes it, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but like, Maxy has been a huge fan of Hiroki Takei's works for ages, so it kind of only made sense to have him on the podcast. Like, initially, like, I actually wanted Maxy to be a host for Oversoul too, because I think, like, they are just a huge and amazing resource for Shaman King. So, like, honestly, any opportunity to have Maxy on is a blessing.
True. Flattering me far too much. I shall try and be useful in this instance, even though I've already told you guys most of the trivia for these volumes, like, off mic.
I know, that's the best part.
I can't help myself. When it comes to, like, just Shaman King, it just flows out of me like an oversaw. There you go. See, it's themed. It's clever.
Well, I mean, we got to keep our power levels in check, or else it'll turn into a Sunday episode. So I'm wearing my weighted clothing. So
I mean, we got all the big publishers in the mix this time. We have a series published by Kodansha. We have the Sunday hipster Sakaki and Shonen Jump expert Maxy. So all the key elements are in balance.
Yeah, we don't talk about Champion on here. Champion's terrible.
Champion, that's trash. Who reads Baki? Yawabushi pedal? That's so lame.
Champion cancelled a baseball manga I like, so as far as I'm concerned, they can go away.
They don't exist.
They took Mount no Tayo away from me. How dare they?
But yeah, before we get into the volumes we're talking about today, which are volumes 8 and 9 of Shaman King, I wanted to ask Maxy, how did you get into Shaman King?
Okay, so I want you to cast your mind back to the ancient days of, like, late 2003, early 2004, when I was but an early teenager, and caught the Shaman King 4Kids dub on Fox Kids in the UK. And I don't remember much about it. I enjoyed it a lot. Horo was in it at this point, so I was already like, yeah, this show's amazing. This guy makes ice and his hair's spiky, and he's got a snowboard. That's almost like a Tony Hawk, but without wheels. Which, close the way there.
I love that so much.
I want to say there's a scene, it's just in the anime. I think it's when they're heading towards the actual site for the shaman site, like end of the road trip, and they're all swimming underwater, and the characters are thinking to themselves. And Ryu, who's called Rio in the anime, and has
the Spanish
Hispanic accent. Yeah.
Oh god, that accent.
Like, everyone else is having like serious thoughts. He just goes, I think I have a pebble in my shoe. And I was like, this seems alright. I just got really into Shaman King. And then May 2004, my 14th birth, I had by this point learnt the comic existed, and that there were like volumes out in English I could get. And so I got for my birthday the first 3 volumes of the series, which are frankly a terrifyingly good introduction to the series, because like it's pretty much 3 self-contained volumes. And like that was it. I was obsessed. I was getting volumes constantly. This was during the manga boom, so like it was costing like £3 or £4 to get a volume. Like everything was cheap. And I kept up with that as best I could over the years, and then along the way I got into scans, which meant I was like getting to see all the extra little bits and pieces hidden away at the time. And then eventually I got out of scans and had to get frustrated and start learning another language so I could keep up with more stuff. That didn't go so well. It's going well. I know things, but like from there, it really has just been since 2004, just really being intensely in Shaman King, into the world of THICC, his many different series. I think at the point I got into Shonen Jump as a magazine itself, like in Japan, like the Japanese version, it was because THICC was returning with Juki Ningen Jumbo, which went well. Lasted 10 chapters, never got to fully reveal its connection to Shaman King, despite hinting at it. So that was great.
I mean, at least we got that Ultra Jump run eventually.
Yeah, which I've not read any of, because by the point I felt like it, all of THICC's works were claimed by THICC himself and Kodansha, and so they've just like not all been made available digitally again yet. But one day I'll get to read Jumbo.
One day it'll come off hiatus.
Yeah,
hopefully.
But the funny thing I think of following Shaman King for that long, because I think that would have been right before, technically it would have been right before it was cancelled in Japan. Cancelled. It wasn't really cancelled. It's complicated. It's fine. It didn't end properly. That's the way of thinking of it. And like you have to deal with so many of the gaps. And I think anyone getting into Shaman King now, whether it's because of this podcast or if they're listening to this podcast because they've got into Shaman King, like you really don't know what it was like. Like it was like 2005, suddenly no Shaman King. Years pass. It comes back, it gets re-released. Doesn't come out in English that way, bit of a shame. But you get the whole story and the promise of a sequel. Sequel starts. Sequel gets cancelled because the magazine it was in didn't sell well at all. And you're waiting 6 more years after that for even more of it. And then THICC keeps getting sick because, to be honest, it's been a long time and he's not in the prime of his life. And so you're constantly like, this series is never going to finish. And it's a terrible fear. And now here we are in the modern day where you're just like, everything's happening. There's multiple series. We're spoiled for Shaman King. And so here we are. I'm just rambling. Someone's please speak.
It's also interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, that was really interesting.
I know your feeling. I feel it deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I think like tying into what you said, like I think right now is really kind of a Shaman King renaissance of sorts.
Ooh. Well, and I mean, it will only get more. The anime is coming. The anime is coming.
Yeah, and hopefully the anime is good. Fingers crossed.
Who's even handling it? Do we know which studio?
Bridge.
Yeah, Bridge. They did Talentless Nana in the fall season.
Have they done anything that people have watched?
Oh, that hurts. Jessica and I watched that.
They've worked on a few of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime.
Oh, yeah, they're doing 7s. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the one where it's like a big stylistic shift.
Yes.
Oh, see, that's exciting because that's what I like. Like when we're talking adaptation, I want things that are super different. Okay, I'm actually looking at everything else they've done because there's nothing. It's nothing I hate more than just something that's just here's the anime but in motion. Like I forgive it a lot with things like Dr. Stone because I just like Dr. Stone and it's like, hey, watch a thing I like. But I don't know. Look, if your anime isn't made out of clay, it's not the most exciting adaptation in the world. Watch Olympia Kite-Cloth. That's not about Shaman King. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
But I guess, like, talking about anime, though, what's your overall opinion of the original Shaman King anime, then?
I loved it at the time, mostly because I hadn't really read much of the manga yet. And I think once you learn the differences, it doesn't hold up quite as well. I will say, probably in the top 2 4Kids dubs of all time. Like just a very well written dub. The renames are interesting. Like it's Monty and Zeke and stuff. Like it's not bad name choices for changing up the names of characters. The jokes are mostly quite funny.
Don't forget Trey Racer.
Trey Racer?
That was Horo. Like they introduced him as Horo. Like, he says his name once, I'm Horo, but I go by Trey Racer. Like, I remember that
What?
scene. I remember that scene clear as day because, like,
Oh my god!
because, like, I was like, okay, so not to detour too much, but I actually went back like a few weeks ago and like went looking for a little bit of the Shaman King dub because I saw it on TV a little bit, but at that point I was reading the manga more, so I was kind of interested in seeing what the differences were. And I remember that his name was Trey Racer. I know that, but then I saw that specific scene.
It had completely left my
God.
mind that he was called Trey Racer, but you're right. And I think that might also be part of why I really liked Horo Horo, because Trey Racer's such a teen cool name. And Kuroro ends up with the weirdly like gendered name Corey as well, which is like, hey, that's also teen cool to be called Corey. We've seen him in The House. Is that a show?
Yeah, Cory in the House. The greatest anime ever.
Oh my
God.
god. I'm sorry, I've never even seen that, and I'm making references.
Trey Racer is actually,
Memes
yeah,
are
I like that name a lot. It sounds like he's like the cool snowboarding cousin of Speed Racer.
It does. I mean, I have nothing wrong, nothing against the name. I actually think I kind of like it too. I just love the fact that they actually acknowledge Horo Horo. Like he could have just come into the series. I'm Troy Racer, guys. No, but I almost am positive there's a scene where it's like, yeah, my name's Horo Horo, but I go by Troy Racer.
Well, no, I feel like I definitely knew that he was also called Horo Horo before reading the comics, because like I didn't end up with any sort of shock there. Like it wasn't nearly as much as learning about Joko. I think in the anime they actually pronounced it Joko as well to make the pun more obvious. It might have been Joko.
Yeah,
I don't know. But like I didn't know about his real name until learning about the comics, and at that point, you know, the shock sets in, and you go like, it's a brand, it's a reference, it's fine, but you can't stop thinking about it, and then you just die inside. But it's okay because this edition of the manga's just picked the 4Kids name, and that was the right choice.
Yeah. And it seems like they're internationally aware of that too, considering like for international products they're sticking with Joko, even in Japan.
Which is a smart way. Oh, God, I just keep looking at these names, seeing if more of the 4Kid dub names were coming up, and I'm not really getting any other ones that are coming to mind. But I don't know. I thought the 4Kids anime was pretty decent, and like I think even without the dub in mind, the fact that it did a very different story, it's like I think Gintama did a whole skit about what happens with shows where like the anime catches up to the manga and everything.
Oh yeah. And they showed the whole diagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this path, the path of just going, whoops, best just do my own story. I like it more often than I don't, because like this did it. The original Fullmetal Alchemist anime did it, which was fine. Hoshinenki did it. I think it was called Soul Hunter when it came out over in America with that version of the anime. So like the precedent for it is pretty neat. And I mean, it meant that the anime got to have an ending. Claymore did it as well. I didn't need to keep naming works that did it, but I just remembered one more. So that worked out really well. I don't think I've actually read the end of Claymore, so I'll have to remember that one day.
Oh, Max, you got to do it.
I've got to. I made it most of the way, and then I think I just forgot to keep reading it.
Take it from me. Just do it. It'll be satisfying.
When Marion says to do something, that means it'll be an experience.
The problem is, whenever anyone tells me to do something, I just immediately dig in my heels and like don't do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I feel you. I do the same thing.
I know.
It's not even deliberate. It's like I recognize it's not a thing I should do, but it's like whenever someone recommends something to you, you know, which is a really bad thing to say for a Shaman King podcast. Hey, we recommend you read Shaman King. No, I never will. Like, no, please. The new anime wouldn't have to do much to be pretty pleasing. Like, if it just manages to capture a bit of Takai's modern style, but make it like a bit easier to pass, I think it'd just be a nice update to everything. Like, go in, tell the story.
The character designs alone, they're in the right direction.
And like, it's got all the old voice actors back, like Romy Parks doing Ren still, which it's going to be interesting at 48. But I mean, voice actors are good at doing voices.
Yeah, and Megumi Hayashibara is back as Anna, so that'll be awesome.
I was just gonna say the one I'm happy that they got back was Inoko Inuyama as Manta. Like, I'm fine if they change everybody else, but she was a perfect Manta. I'm so glad when they announced that she's back. I was like, okay, this show's gonna be fine. I mean, it's a little bit worrying that the staff is mostly new, but like, I think it's like you said. I think that they don't have to do too much to have at least a pretty good adaptation.
I mean, if it's better paced than Hakyu Hoshinengi was, then
Oh
we're looking okay.
I'm getting bad memories again, Maxy.
Yeah, not to
Why?
put fear into people, but I've already had one of my favorite Shonen Jump series come back as an anime and tell the full story and it go wrong. So
Never adapt one volume episode. It's a terrible idea.
I think it got more than one volume an episode in places and then slowed down towards the end.
Isn't that technically what they also did for Banana Fish? Like 1 volume an episode?
Yes and no, they kind of change up the story a little bit.
One volume an episode? Huh. More like I only watched one episode because I forgot to keep watching it. It was really good as well. It's just it was like only on Prime Video and I was lazy.
Right. Yeah. That was the thing. Yeah.
Darn you,
A
Amazon.
recurring thing. Whenever another anime comes up, I'm just going to go and mention every time I've watched one episode of it and not watched any more because let me tell you, I'm insufferable.
I mean, that's me at this point. I just stick to manga and light novels, really.
Light novels have like cured my depression.
Light novels, I'm currently reading and have been for months the first volume of the reincarnated as the villainess, the Baccarina series.
Oh,
I can never remember
Baccarina's
the
Oh,
title.
nice. Baccarina's so
And you know
good.
what? It's really good, and I'm so pleased that I've managed to read 2 chapters over a year.
To be fair, the villainous genre is like freaking huge. I feel like there's a lot to like delve into, depending. But like, if you want something more serious or more in whatever direction, just hit me up and I got you.
Absolutely. If I ever get good at reading like written prose again, like I'm going to get all the light novel recommendations. I just have to like
trust me.
retrain my brain.
When it
Years of
clicks,
comics,
it's gonna click. It's when it clicks.
years of comics has broken me as a reader of text, and it's not that like comics is easier. It's just they're completely different disciplines. So
Oh, for sure.
if you get too into comics, you start having to make room in your head. Damn, Green was silver. Short Shovel is Necro. I'm learning so many things.
But I think we should dive into the Shaman King manga itself now.
Yes, so lay it out at the bottom of the swimming pool and jump on in. This is why I don't do podcasts anymore.
Oh yeah, well, one thing I want to shout out is Maxy used to do a podcast called Friendship Effort Victory, and despite anything they say, it is good.
Hey, look,
Ooh.
true story. I forgot to turn off the auto renewal on that bloody website, friendshipofvictory.com. So now I have to own it for a whole other year, and I was completely ready to stop.
Oh god, it's not good.
But it's fine because if you go to the website, there's a silver bar on the page where something's gone wrong in the settings, and it doesn't show the things unless you mouse over them. But if you slide your mouse left and right over the bar, you'll find a bit that says FEV Series 1. If you click that and scroll down, you can get to the Shaman King episode. I need to fix this website. I do.
Have you uploaded the show to like a hosting place like Anchor or anything?
It's only on archive.org, which is the original place I uploaded them all back in the day. I will probably put them on other places. The whole point of putting them on the website was to do that sort of thing because I was fed up of other people putting them up. But well, what can I say? I'm very bad when it comes to anything to do with my own website. But the Shaman King episode, it is pretty good. I can't remember a single thing I said on it, but I think people thought it was clever, and they went, "This is real good. I wonder what you'll do next." And I did 3 more episodes and stopped making the podcast. So,
I mean, regardless, that's probably one of my favorite episodes of FEV. So
It's my second favorite, which I've said twice now about Shaman King over the course of like 10 minutes. Because it's the second favorite 4Kids anime, the best being Ultimate Muscle. And second favorite FEV episode, because the one I did immediately before it was Shinmai Fukei Kyoko-san, which is the best cancelled manga of all time and something I could talk about all day because it never should have been cancelled and all audiences were wrong about that comic.
That's not double arts, but I believe you.
Double Arts, I reread Double Arts as I've gotten older and better at Japanese and stuff, and I love it, but it is a hot mess.
That's what makes it good.
Well, I mean, if you like Double Arts, read Guardian of the Witch, because it is Double Arts. I've argued with Colton and Sid about this. It is Double Arts.
You know what? I actually will, because I think I meant to read it earlier, but I just felt I didn't even like check the first chapter because it came out at a busy time for me, and I know Brandon worked on it, so I wanted to check out his work on it.
Mm.
Brandon worked on it?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Dang.
Oh, no.
Guardian of the Witch, the Jump series.
Oh, Guardian of the Witch. I was like, wait, okay. That makes more sense.
No, VLord.
No, I was thinking, like, wait, Brandon did Double Arts?
No. Guardian of the Witch.
Did Double Arts at the time, because, I mean, Double Arts was 2008, right? So that's the same point that I started doing Beelzebub back in the day, I think. Was it? When did Beelzebub... No, Beelzebub was 2009. That was the year after, so I definitely wouldn't have known who was doing Double Arts.
God, 2009 was so different.
It was. It had Hoopmen, which was I'm not going to talk about good cancelled jump manga.
I mean, Hoopmen is very good.
Hoopmen is the best. Oh, and Medaka Box, which has a terrible anime, and I feel like people who watch that don't know how good the manga is.
It's okay, because we did get Good Loser Kumogawa out of it. That's the only good thing.
Yeah.
And we got Megumi Ogata as Kumogawa, which is awesome.
So Shaman King.
Shaman King.
Yeah. Remember when this was a Shaman King podcast? I sure don't.
This is the problem with having the jump guy on, is because all the jump trivia just leaves my ass out my mouth. Like, leaves my ass out of my mouth. That's not how people talk.
Maxy, trust me. Maxy, even if you weren't here, we would be drowning in tangents, probably. That's just how we roll.
I just like the fact that it's not my fault.
Sakaki, would you like to give a TED talk on Sobote?
I'm suppressing my power levels right now. So
okay, so you see how the premise of Sobote was like destroying this house or whatever. Well, guess what happens in volume 8 and 9? We go to the Tao House. Yeah.
Oh, good segue there.
I got you guys. Don't worry about it.
But like before that though, to actually talk about this, there was the end of the Yo versus Ren fight.
Yeah, that did happen.
Oh yeah, where we get to learn that the best way to do an oversoul, and definitely the most exciting way in a comic, is just to turn it into a big man.
Yeah, basically just make it JoJo.
Yes,
I really didn't like this at the time, and I don't like it now. And like, it is clear it's because like Takai is a big JoJo fan, but it's not what you want like oversouls to do. When you've had like seen this cool thing where they are part of the weapon and stuff, just a big man is just a bit naff.
I do agree with you conceptually. I think especially because later on we see how oversouls can like be shaped and like do like really weird different things when you have like many souls or like many people like forming an oversoul together. Like,
and I mean,
think
there's a sort of oversoul later that is like the definitive way that oversouls work from that point onwards as well. That I think's really good design work.
Yeah, like the stand like oversoul just feels kind of out of place too, because like it's never really used again, as far as I remember. So it's just like, it's like, why is it here?
I will say, despite the fact that I'm crapping all over it, it does make for a really exciting end to the fight.
That I can agree with. I definitely like the spread, like on page 31, where it's just like the big explosion and you see like Horo and some other folks like reacting to it. Definitely leaves an impact.
Well, not just the great part is in Horo's panel, you can just see Faust's hat.
Oh god, you can. That's such a great little detail. But yeah, I mean, essentially the fight comes to an end and like, yeah, it's a draw. Which, I mean, like, I think overall, I enjoy this fight from a moment-to-moment perspective. We talked about it, like, in the previous episode, but I think one of the kind of more annoying parts of the fight is the fact that it, like, gets in that whole, like, power level aspect where it's, like, them, like, managing how much, like, soul energy they have left.
There's nothing fun about a numbers game, and, like, later on, they do get better at this. Like, the numbers are there, but you don't have to worry about them as much. But at this point, I feel like Takai's trying to codify, like, how to do it going forward, and just finds the absolute worst way of doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I complained about it last episode, and like, at least I think the fight itself, like, I'm fine with it. That like number stuff is like whatever, but I do think that like the aftermath is like so far, besides the like Tokagero fight, is like some of my favorite like aftermath that comes out from it. Just like the self-awareness that Ren gets is like, oh, it's so delicious. I freaking loved it. I tweeted about it earlier, but like earlier, like, Ren comes off as like like he's like the edgy character, right? He's like Shadow the Hedgehog because he just has all this rage inside him. And
yes, I remember this.
God, but like now it's like he gets like this self-awareness. I love that line where he's just like, I used to crush my enemies with brute force, but I knew it from the start that I couldn't be Yo because he's like the wind and brute force cannot crush the wind, and like stuff like that. It's just I love it. It's poetic. He's still like really edgy because he's talking in euphemisms and like, but he owns it. And he's also just like, when you get that kind of character growth, it's so delicious.
Yeah, I really do like how Takei kind of characterizes Ren following this fight too, because he is very like self-reflective on how, like, yeah, he's murdered a ton of people, he's done bad things, but he wants to kind of be a better person or change his perspective. And that's thanks to like his encounters with Yo. He's seen like there's a different way to fighting. He is like the way that he's been raised and has perceived the world around him isn't the only option. Which I think definitely kind of ties into the kind of overall message of Shaman King, where it's like, yeah, there is a reason for every character going on these certain paths. There's no just like genuine good or evil. Like, there's no absolutes.
Well, it's great as well because I think Ren having this growth after he's done terrible things and killed people makes room for the big message of Shaman King, like the overriding thing that carries across every single series, which is just, if you hurt others, they'll hurt you back. Like, it doesn't matter what the intent is, how you've grown since. Like, it's something that has to hang over you and you have repercussions for. And, like, even with Ren being a good character now, like, he will always be someone who has to go for a grinder. Like, I mean, we see in these volumes, just karmically, he has to almost immediately go back to his dad and get tortured. Like, a penance begins there.
Exactly. And like acknowledging the fact that like he's made these like choices and like he has to suffer for the repercussions of his actions is just that's good because like people need that kind of message. Just because like Yo is the the happy-go-lucky person who's like very forgiving and very like easy to get along with or whatever, and he wants to like help everyone he can who's like his friend or whatever, but also like Ren is not wrong in that like he started things and he has to like see them through, even if his friends decide to help him, which we do see later on. He's the one who's made the decision, and being able to like stick to your choice and follow that is like that's like the first step in like penance and like being able to make up for your previous actions.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, like after the fight, we then kind of have a little bit of a transitional period. And one thing I really want to bring up, though, is something we talked about before we started recording, and that's at the actual Shaman King ceremony, where like they have like a giant crowd on the kind of cover page of chapter 65. And there's just like a bunch of like cameos of characters. Like Maxy pointed out, like Buffalo Man from Kinnikuman is on here twice, and then Kamen Rider is there for some reason. It's just like THICC, why?
And the great thing is, along with those like cameos, you also get some good hints to the future, like the characters in the tribal masks that are, and I can't believe someone had to point this out to me. God, I can't think who it was, but the tribal masks in the sort of right end of the second row, those are Gundam shields. As African tribal masks, like that group of people is.
Oh, I see them.
Oh my god, they
God,
are!
you're right.
That's amazing.
I never noticed ever, and I feel like such a fool. But those characters become important going forward. Above them, you've got the Golem, who is in its own way one of the most important things to remember exist.
Oh yeah,
the guy with the pyramid on his head. That's a whole thing. Like there's such little details. Like you can't necessarily tell anything about these characters at this point. But the fact that these little abstract sketches are recognizable as stuff that comes up later is really impressive. You've also got Bose. I don't know how you say the name. All the way off on the left on the second row.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, like if you zoom in too, you can even find Ren. Like his pointy hair kind of makes him stick out a little bit.
Yeah, well, you can use the previous page for it because he's standing next to Buffalo Man and a weird wizard. In that on that page, then you turn, you find Buffalo Man, and Ren is there between him and the wizard. Like the continuity's there. Although one character does disappear from next to Buffalo Man, who you'll spot on the previous page, which is our first reveal that Ryu is here in the Shaman fight.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, Ryu joins the Shaman fight. And I love how THICC reveals it, because on like one of the pages, he's just like, see? I was here the entire time!
Yeah, he actually points it out so people know. I forgot.
And like Montes forgot, thinking like, wait, the panel expanded!
Oh my god.
It's so perfect. I love when THICC does stuff like that.
He's an expert at knowing when to break the fourth wall a little bit. Like it's not so much that it's like constantly being like, haha, we're a comic, but it's like it doesn't hide from the medium, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it makes sense to kind of like make Ryu a bit more actively involved, because like he leaves a very strong impression even in the early volumes. So it'd be kind of a waste to just get rid of him.
Yeah, for sure. You could tell he's really that THICC just really likes him too, but just by the way he flourishes, like his like character design on the panels.
Well, that's the thing. He's constantly given time on the page. He's always changing and evolving in his look. Like you feel to kind of, even with just the stuff messing with his hair. Like he's working through his feelings for the character and being like, okay, this is what I'm going to do with him.
His pompadour can transform into anything. It knows no bounds.
Ryu's hair is my favorite running gag in this by far.
Yeah, I dig the vampire look he has in later volume 9. Yeah, later volume 9. It like with the huge collar and his hair kind of like split in two. It always used to remind me kind of a vampire. I'm not sure why, but
I mean, keep that in mind. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, right. Okay, but I won't say anything.
Like Ryu's reintroduction to when like Yo's fighting Bose is just so great too, because he just looks like a total Chad. Like, his collar has even gotten bigger. It's
know.
amazing.
His pompadour has 3 layers. My combat history reveals itself in my coif. It gets more complex with every opponent I defeat. In other words, I've become a shaman. Of course we have.
Do you
Yeah.
guys, on the note of bows, do you guys know the references with bows?
Like
Biz?
bees?
Yeah, like bees, or as I thought when I was younger, because I'm a listener of quirky music from the UK and have been ever since I was a small child. I always thought it was a reference to the band Biz, who were a Scottish pop band that starred Mandarin as the main singer.
Wait. Aren't they the ones that did the Powerpuff Girls ending? Or am I thinking another band?
I do believe they did. They also did in Jet Set Radio Future. They did Statement of Intent. They are amazing, and they weren't the reference. And it was years until I actually learned about Biz and went, oh, Biz, not Biz. And it's like, but Bose also at one point in the past, because they go through several name changes both before the story and as the story continues. They were Bowie as well.
Oh,
no, sorry, they were Bose, BO0WZ, which is reference to Bowie, the rock band.
Wow.
Not David Bowie, but Bowie, the band from Gunma in the 80s.
I did not know this.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Like following the references to stuff where it's clear that it's just something Takai likes can often open you up some real neat things.
Yeah, that's really dope too. And I just love the conceit of like like Bozu's name, just because like I brought this up before, but like Bozu is also like a word for monk, and just like oh yeah, they're the Buddhist monks, and they have like the staff that's also a microphone and the
Electric Biwa.
Yes, electric Biwa loop.
Yes.
It's like genius.
If there are any two characters that are one of the most creatively brilliant things in the series, but 100% do not get the respect they deserve, it's both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And like Takai clearly really loves the idea. I think probably on some level as well because he got to go and draw a car, which that's always a bonus to Takai. Dude loves cars.
Yeah, which explains some things later in the series.
Oh boy, doesn't it?
Oh yes, I know. God. I know about this legend.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if you listened to like I think it was probably our first episode, but Sakaki's history has a lot to do with the cars of the X-Lots.
Okay. I mean, have you heard that episode, or should I just go into it?
I've dipped into bits and pieces of the show. Don't challenge me on whether I've listened to the show. It revealed that I've done bad at listening to any podcast in recent history.
I mean, I'm equally as bad. I don't even listen to a lot of ones I'm on.
I deliberately don't listen to ones I'm on. Have you heard my voice?
Yeah, exactly. That's my reasoning too. I don't want to hear my voice. But
I thought your reasoning is that you don't want to hear my voice.
I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to hear my voice. I don't even like going back to look at translations I've done, just because, I mean, once I'm done and they're edited and they look good, I don't like to look at them again, because I just don't like looking at... Anyway,
I'm so glad I only read for myself. If I wrote down anything that was like how I thought I was translating something, I would get blasted so much by everyone.
Oh, but yes, to explain like what VLord was saying, so I had only read Shaman King in English Jump, and then a friend of mine went to Japan, and this was college. Yeah, this was college. And so he went to Japan, and he bought a whole bunch of Japanese Jump volumes. One was One Piece, and I think it was the most recent one at the time. So the One Piece one was just when they were breaking into Enies Lobby. So I got to see that for the first time. That was way before One Piece was kind of a thing. And then the Shaman King volume he got was the only thing I could remember, because this was back when I couldn't really read Japanese. So I'm just flipping through the pictures, and then it's just randomly car. Like somebody just oversold a car. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? And then like I remember it was one guy in his underwear. Those are the things I took away from it because I couldn't read anything that was going on. I was just like, why do they randomly have cars and why are they what's this got to do with anything? I finally got to read those volumes now with this release, and so that everything makes way more sense. But for years,
probably still not enough sense, to be honest.
No, but probably for years, that's all I had. I mean, this was like I said, it was the newest volume because he literally just went to a bookstore and picked up whatever he could find. So. I don't know how long ago that would have been, but yeah, that's all I had for Shaman King because I never really read the manga. So for years, I just was like, okay, I know that they're shamans, they fight with ghosts and stuff. Okay, cool. Then there's just a random car and one just there. And everybody's treating it like it's a normal thing. So I guess it's okay.
The guy literally... He's taken his love of cars further and further to the point that Takai does an RC car manga, like the latest in the Yonkuro series. I don't know what it is. Hyper Dash Yonkuro.
Yeah, which runs in a Shocky magazine.
Yeah, it's in Koro. So technically, I should talk about it at some point.
You need to cover it so that we can like talk about it on the podcast too.
And okay. It's technically got very tiny cars, so it can continue the car theme.
All those cars.
Going back to just like how much THICC was like aware of what he wanted to draw. I think it's really neat that right after like Bose like confronts Yo or whatever, and they fail because of Ryu. We see how, and like it's like chapter 68, and we don't get his like real introduction until the next volume, but it's still cool because like also. It's like just how we've seen like the Hanagumi girls before in like color spreads is like he has had all these characters like in the back of his head and like figuring out where to place them and like gradually introduce them, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like before this volume and the little Chimimorio things, and really I suppose a couple of volumes before with the leaf spirits as well. Like, you don't see a lot of non-human spirits, and if you do, they've been these very small things, like the Chimimorios. And now you just suddenly get to go and see Hao set next to his makeshift hut with this giant, like, flame guy behind him, and you just think, like, oh, this is also what spirits can be. Holy crap.
It's a big boy.
It's a big boy, and a much more patterned boy than he is later, I feel like.
It's a great boy, you could call it.
Oh yeah, I think he is more patterned than he is later.
And also somehow less detailed, so it's like a bit of a balance gets achieved over time.
It's THICC being THICC, which is inconsistent.
Yeah, but it also means, because this is still in that nice juicy period where THICC does the sausage fingers that I really like. So even here, the Spirit of Fire has like quite chunky, big, long fingers, and I think that's real cool. I don't talk about this very often in podcast format, and it's probably worth it for people who've never heard me speak about Shaman King before. I like Takai's hands for the first, let's say, year and change of series, probably about a year and a half, I think it works out as, have these proper Osamu Tezuka cartoon fingers to them that are just like big bendy sausages. And yes. I think it's one of the only things that I think is a real loss as he becomes more competent as an artist over the series.
I think it really adds to the style because it's so cartoony, and like even I don't know if it's later in this volume or maybe next after like Yo actually like breaks into the house, but there's a one panel with Ren like standing up, and like he gets drawn with like these huge like feet that like you can only see like the big toe, and like everything else is just like kind of rounded out, and it's just like it's very, like you said, it's very Tezuka, it's very cartoony, and I like that.
Yeah, it definitely gives off like a Tezuka vibe to me as well. Like I do like THICC's litter style, especially with like kind of the softer but like more hyper detailed look, but this still has like a ton of charm to it, so it's always nice to go back to.
It reminds me also of, like, we brought this up before, but just, like, the fact that he worked with Oda as like, an assistant or whatever, you kind of see it in, like, early One Piece too, how Luffy had like these really like big sausage fingers too. You can even see it from like the first opening of One Piece when he like holds up his hat, and you just see his hands just like fat.
The funny thing is, I think they both end up like that, and I want to say that Shingagin and Shinya Suzuki, who I think were also assistants to the author, like all have this sort of aspect to them as well. But I don't think the guy they worked for had as much of a like soft touch as this. It's occurred to me. I've just been like, oh, I think this person was assistant to him. I made a chart. I can check. And I'm not being that coy. Like it's Nobuhiro Watsuki they all work for. It's not that interesting to talk about him as much as it is the group of people that worked.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it was Oda, it was Shinya Suzuki. I don't think they all worked at the same time. Mind, Mikio Ito, who definitely has the same sort of art style as Takai and Oda, and is beloved by both of them. They've snuck him in here and there in their own works. Oda literally does wanted posters for him.
Nice.
So and Kazushige Yamada, who did Ground Began, which I've never read, and I don't really want to because it doesn't look very interesting. I can't just dunk on every author that I can't be asked to read, but still. But yeah, there's definitely this common sort of trend along these people, and you see it with some of the people who've worked for him. Katsunori Matsui did, as Kiyu, did number 10, which you can read on the Mangamo app, and Rocket D's Suki Nikero, and those definitely have a lot of those Takai touches, like which have that, again, like Tezuka feel to them, where it's like chunky, sausagey feel to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's some sort of continuing legacy among that group of creators and the people who've come from them that you don't see a lot in manga.
Yeah, I kind of joke about it, but it really is for me like a kind of like a Capcom effect with like the character designs.
Yes,
where like
I wanted to say that.
Yeah, like the limbs can be a little stretchy, but then like the appendages, like the hands and the feet, get like big, and it's just like I like that. It's, lack of a better word, it's just cartoony, and I love cartoons.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing wrong with hyper realistic styles, but sometimes you want a bit of like, whoa, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you get one of the perfect Ren sausage fingers panels. One of my favorite panels in the whole series of him eating the meat bun he gets given on the train later in the
Yes, I had that page open right now.
Yeah,
I love that panel.
It's I think one of the most human Ren is evolving panels that it could have. You know.
God,
and the reaction panel right afterwards is just perfect. He's giving like the grumpy, like, this is pretty good face.
Oh man.
And the fact that Bason is just like, what did I just see here?
My master is Moe? How?
Ren has mastered the Gap Moe.
Like
I can't believe my Ren is this cute.
You got it. And then he immediately says, like, some edgy shit, I've lost my way. I hated my family and all of humanity. I wanted to be Shaman King to destroy them all. But Yo Asakura made me see things differently.
The Shadow the Hedgehog music starts playing.
Oh yeah, but like
I am all I am.
He actually, throughout all of that, he actually comes away from it with the, I think, the best resolution to be Shaman King out of most of the characters, which is wanting to change the world and bring an end to the cycle of hate, which specifically means his family, but like on the broader sense, it is like literally wanting to bring an end to that type of circle of hate, of like her bringing her. And you think like that, this is someone who wants to fix the world, not just do like Yo and just want to have a peaceful world where everyone gets what they want, not to have a field full of leaves, like just to actually be able to say they've improved the world at the end of it. You kind of root for him a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very Shaman King message. Like, you'd think a series that's like literally about folks fighting, at least in the early parts, like would not have a very pacifist like theme like this.
I think that the way it's executed too is really cool, just because like it takes advantage of being like a comic, and it's just like he's in the train monologuing, but then immediately he's just like, yes, I'm going to overthrow my father, and then boom, next page, it's just him facing the castle like on his horse, and it's just like so fucking epic.
So I have to wonder, because he keeps doing it. Does Ren have a problem sitting down on his horse?
He might have.
Because he is almost always standing on it.
I mean, if it's that big, why not? You know,
He might need some preparation H.
The horse is almost as big as his collar. Preparation horse. Yeah. That's what the H stands for. We've solved it.
Yep. This is already the best episode I've been on, so just let you guys know.
I mean, part of me feels like his legs are just too small to wrap around the horse, I guess. I'm no expert on horses, though, so I don't know.
Maybe Takai just doesn't want to draw him sitting on a horse.
Maybe.
It doesn't look. It does. Yeah, it just doesn't look anywhere near as cool.
I mean, if he's standing on it, he can be even taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He instead of sitting on the horse when he charges into battle against the Jiangxi, he just crouches on the horse.
Clearly, THICC doesn't want him to look like a Fire Emblem unit.
I don't think Takai knows how to draw someone sitting on a horse. I think it's in fact some sort of code.
Yeah, you might be right, because this did come out before Steel Ball Run, so he had no reference to go off from Araki.
I just love that Hirohiko Araki had to make such a sacrifice learning how to draw horses that he forgot how to draw dogs.
Every
Steel Ball Run.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dogs.
And that's why Danny's a rat.
God.
And the true villain of Steel Ball Run. Danny the rat did everything wrong.
I mean, the worst, of course, is the rock dog in JoJo Line, which is just completely unrecognizable as a creature.
The rock dog's amazing because it doesn't look anything like a dog.
Dude, like it looks like I don't know how to put this lightly or like not sound bad about it, but it looks like something that should be euthanized.
Oh my god,
it's kind of
Like
dark.
a product of like terrible inbreeding or something.
I mean, after years of killing dogs, maybe he's just leaned into it.
Maybe.
You know what? Let me make something. Maybe draw something that looks like it deserves to die.
Jesus Christ.
But like, I guess speaking of THICC drawing horses, though, it does make me wonder, like, outside of Ren's horse, I can't think of many animals in Shaman King besides cats. Or, like, really any of his series besides cats.
What about Ren and Stimpy?
Do they count as animals?
They don't.
Because
They
they
don't.
don't look humanoid.
They literally don't count.
I mean, what's a tanuki other than a dog? And a fox is a dog.
A dog with fat balls.
Well, not now. They've put a nappy on him. Don't forget.
I love it. I love it.
So I really like Ren's dad just suddenly appearing in a completely unbelievable giant way. And
Oh yeah.
and
Looming.
I feel like you just take for granted that he's clearly a giant monster of a man, and you don't really think about what it means at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's thick. He's the embodiment of thick.
He's thick daddy, and as we learn later, he's actually just quite a slender man who wishes he was a thick daddy.
Exactly. He lied to his children for years, giving them unrealistic body goals.
The thing that amazes me is that Ren doesn't think to himself that his giant dad was able to sneak up on him, when, as we all know, if you are dummy thick, then the clapping your ass cheeks alerts.
I know exactly where you're going with that.
There you go. See, I've got all the modern references.
But speaking of Talon, though, his hands too, they're like giant sausages.
Yeah, no, this was like Takai was hearing me talking now, through some sort of clairvoyance, viewing into the future, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to give you all the big hands you want." It's just it's absurd, and he's got his giant. I want to call it a moustache, but it's clearly a full beard. That's just like a
I know it is.
peasant
It is
man.
weird because it covers all around his lips.
I love how, like, later too, Manta's so preoccupied by the beard.
Yeah, I know. That's really good commentary.
It's like, he's so big, and he has a giant mustache. How do we defeat him?
The mustache is just as pointy as his hair and his nose.
I like as well how we're given that big impact where, like, Jun and Pyron have been defeated, and it's like, look, it's Pyron's body in pieces, and you're just like, yeah, we know he's stitched together. Like, him being in pieces isn't that impactful.
Yeah. It's more like, oh, he's incapacitated. But then we see June later just, like, stitching him up, too, so it makes sense.
Yeah. She had some super glue.
Oh my god, Humpty Pylon. But I can't, because of what Marion said. Now I'm looking at page 136, and I can see all I can see is Sato art, like with Ren's dad. Like his head is so small, and it's bothering me. Do my first read. I did.
We must expand. We must go wider.
Oh god, is this what we're going to get out of the new anime? Is Sato actually going to draw Tauen?
Yes!
I hope
hire
so.
Sato as an animator! Oh my god! I would lose my shit.
I hope so. Because looking at this page, it's incredible. Like, his head is like, you can't see it. But his hand is so huge.
Yeah, like, the hand is, like, significantly bigger than the head. It's like, how does this work?
Dude, his head is like the size of his nail. It's actually crazy. To be fair, though, they do make up for the head being small by slapping it onto a dragon later.
Oh, God, don't. And the head in that form is so big.
It is gigantic. It's like making up for all that. It's making up for all that screen time where it was just too small to be seen.
Also, I think as well.
Everybody, we do like Shaman King on the show, by the way.
Oh, we do.
Just to make sure. Just to make sure.
Come off as praise. It's really just us, like, loving the art design here.
Part of loving a comic is it's not even looking at its flaws and appreciating them. It's looking at things that are silly and loving them because they're silly. And that's a thing with Shaman King. I mean, you get this at the end of the chapter, like. Pretty much every Shaman King chapter ends with a final panel with a thick black border. And the fact that we've had this massively serious thing, and the last couple of pages just cut back to the invisible chair, and the final panel is Yo doing the invisible chair, being asked to save Ren, and it's like, it's intrinsically silly. No matter how serious the situation, he's sitting on nothing.
He's getting the new type flash, like, save Master Ren, while he's doing like a air chair, like, come on.
Yeah. And it's like, so I don't necessarily think Bakuman's a very good manga, and I think it's given a lot of people weird information about things. This sounds like a weird tangent, but roll with me here. But there's a thing in there that I've always taken to heart, and I think I connect with a lot because it's what THICC does, which is that the best sort of comedy is one that you can play incredibly seriously whilst it's still funny. And you get that so much in Shaman King, where it's like something very silly is happening, but like there'll be a serious undercurrent, or like it will suddenly change on a dime. And so few creators can do that well. THICC is like the king of the absurdist moment.
I'm really losing my fucking mind looking at like Ryu doing it with his leg crossed.
Oh yeah.
What a fucking Chad.
Well, again, he's the most powerful one of them there at this point.
God.
I'm seeing it now, and you're right. But yeah, no, THICC really is just, that's the one takeaway I have with Shaman King. Like, it's so unrelentingly odd, and it rolls with it. It's not ashamed of how weird it is.
Yeah, and then I feel that's just kind of like becomes a thing for all his works after this. Like, I mean, I've mentioned Neko Gahara before. It's literally like a cat drug addict going around killing people.
And I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of cat STDs as well. He's just that.
Cat STDs.
I mean, there are cat brothels in Neko Gahara, so...
Why have I not read this yet?
I don't even necessarily know that Neko Gahara is an amazing comic, but it's the fact that it takes itself seriously whilst also being silly as hell that just really sells you on it.
Yeah, I mean, It's the usual THICC thing where it becomes so insane and then it has a very THICC like kind of quick ending.
Yeah, and like, oh god, he so obviously the original ending to Shaman King is famous for how silly it is because it's a dream sequence and a small epilogue, and the dream sequence is, I mean, it's the Princess How. Everyone knows about Princess How, and it's
Our true queen.
It's just something else. But the actual ending, when he had the chance to come back and do it later, is no less silly than that.
I guess.
There's not really a great way of talking about spoilers, but the fact it manages to involve a massive spiritual space, high concepts about good and evil, and also, because it's THICC, a large vehicle.
Oh shit, you're right.
Oh my god.
I guess, like, yeah, when you think about it, like, out of context, it seems very absurd.
Well,
That's
it's all
very
absurd.
funny.
Even the endings to later series, because, like, Shaman King Flowers has to end on a cliffhanger because the magazine it was in was cancelled. And it gets such a hokey, weird, like, I've realised something ending, and then just stops. And, like, it's... The whole series is fantastic.
God, this reminded me of Ultimo's ending, where it becomes, like, straight up Gurren Lagann, and then just ends with them having a party at Stanley's house.
Oh my god. I need to read more. God.
I think Juki Ningen Jumbo technically doesn't have a silly ending, but when your series is about a bunch of... Well, it's about one adult being turned into a child and being mad because now he's got a small penis. Like, it's not exactly going to be normal all the way through. Oh, and he's got big shovel hands. That and a small penis. Sorry, I
A
forgot the other.
requirement. You need the shovel hands.
Oh, I can't. I need to be more THICC. That's what I'm taking away from all of this.
Yeah, THICC is a wild ride. But speaking of kind of ridiculous things, Yo and his gang get to China really fast, I feel.
Oh yeah, like they travel through the panel gutters and just turn up there. Because it's like, how many days has it been? It's been 10 days, so it takes 10 days. Presumably Barson. So I come on with which pronunciations what it matters. Barson, sure. Bason, I don't know.
I call it Basan.
Bason.
Yeah. Presumably he just kind of apparates and like travels to them instantly because he's a ghost and like whatever. But it's been 10 days.
Yeah, like how does that work?
I can give you the answer right here, VLord. If you go to page 162, you actually see a marijuana leaf on Yo's sleeve. We can assume that they were under the influence, and the time that it took for them to actually pass by felt like nothing because that's what.
Yeah, no, because it's like when people in Olympic sports get suspended for having weed in the blood system, right? It's because, as we all know, if there's any drug that's going to make you faster, it's weed.
Exactly. Mexico.
What the fuck?
I mean, that's why you get the you get faster, and that's why you get the munchies in the end because you use all that energy running.
The trick is you have your coach standing at the finish line with like a bucket of chicken, and you're just like, yeah, I'm ready for this now. As long as you don't get distracted along the way thinking about how your hands can touch anything except themselves, like you're fine.
So that's why Sonic the Hedgehog talks like a skater.
Speedwagon speedweed.
Past this point, there's this neat bit where all the characters are like basically talking about why they've come along with Yo, and the background for Manta, Horo, and Ryu is relevant to their character.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Manta's dictionary behind him. You've got one of the up and down Ainu pattern for Horo. And I guess just sparkles behind Ryu because he's really pretty.
That's exactly the reason.
But I think that's such a nice little comic touch that is just like, I'm not drawing a background here, so I'll just put something.
Mm-hmm. I love that too. I think it's just not quirky, but like, yeah, it's just like a little touch for the characters. Like this is their aesthetic.
I feel like as someone who's already not very good about pronouncing things in English, let alone other languages, I feel like this China arc is out to destroy me in a lot of ways. Because, like, when you're getting concepts like the Wu Fu Xing Du Si Shang Deng, and I know I said like 5 of those words wrong, but I can't remember how I said them wrong, so I just have to be like, the animal man.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. It's like, I don't remember how to pronounce that. My little bit of Chinese is, like, foreign on me now.
It's the sort of thing that makes me wish I was better at languages, because, like, I could do passable at reading Japanese, but I hate saying it out loud because I can't pronounce it right because I've never had to think about learning how to speak it.
Oh god, same. My Japanese orals in college never went well.
Luckily for me, Japanese is like they use the same vowels as Spanish, which is like
Oh.
they don't really change. So I got that on luck. So,
Whereas because
but Chinese is like
I've
a whole other can of worms with just the way like pinyin works, where some letters are pronounced different ways, and not the way that they're pronounced in English, and it's just whew.
Well, this is the challenge, is because English is the most bullshit language in the world. I feel like trying to learn any other language that has, like, rules is a special sort of challenge, because just years of colonialism and putting flags in things has just made us think we could just do whatever we want with words and people will catch up. And boy, howdy, that was a mistake.
God. Oh, these Jiangxi are really cool, just like the designs, and like I appreciate that like we got like the character pages for them like way before we even like started the arc. And I was seeing them like being introduced as the earlier chapters were ending, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I guess are we gonna go to Ren's house later? And we did, and then
Yeah.
I don't
They
like
do
the
not,
designs. Were so,
for all of that introduction time and for all the quality of the designs, they don't last long.
Yeah, they really don't.
they're just cool. Like I really like the fact that like we have a guy with 2 snake arms, a cheetah legs, elephant feet, and then like fucking rocket and like gun person.
Like, yeah, he's like a
That guy looked like he belongs in Chainsaw Man.
Oh my god.
The
I do
gun
love
devil.
like on I do love like on the page when like when everyone's about to face off against them. Like you have Manta in like one of the corner panels being like what am I doing here? He's just next to Bason. That's Manta in a nutshell for like most of the series at this point.
Yeah, and unlike in the anime, he doesn't get to go and have Mosuke as his spirit and like gain any skills. He just gets to continue to be.
Oh, what? That happens in the anime?
It happens.
That's
in
actually
the
kind of
anime,
cool.
Yeah. He uses the Manta, not the Manta dictionary, because it's a laptop in the anime. He uses his laptop as a hammer.
Oh shit, that's actually really fucking cool.
I think it takes a long time to happen and it doesn't really last, but it was pretty neat. I'll tell you what's not neat. Actually, no, is it neat? I like it, but I don't think it's good. Horo putting his snowboard on his arm so he can punch ice.
I love that a lot. I think that's one of the coolest things that he's done. Just because, like, fuck snowboards. Like you're supposed to like ride them with your feet. No, I'm putting them on my hand, and I'm like waving it around.
It feels like he gave up on the idea of riding the snowboard at this point, though. Which I mean, he really does, because it's not the weapon that's used forever in the series, and it kind of makes sense. But it feels a shame because it was really unique before now, and admittedly, it's still got Kuroro's face on the underside, which that gets points.
That's good. I really love that part of the design.
Oh, and it gives us what is both somehow a really cool moment for Horo. Haha, cool pun. Ugh. That wasn't even deliberate. Because he does ice, guys. He does ice. And look, I mean, he does snow as well, but he mostly does ice. It's fine. But it feels like it's also Takai calling himself out on a design he had made like ages before, and now he's using it. He's found a flaw in it. Just being like, elephants don't jump. And you think, yeah, so why did they put elephant legs on this man?
I just like his line, the elephant dude's line. My elephant's feet will smash the sass out of you. Listen, that's like the best written line in this entire arc, just because it sounds like it sounds like something you hear out of Wrestler or something.
Yeah,
and I love
it is
that.
100%. It is. I want to say that's one from the original Viz translation as well, because like this isn't 100% the same as the Viz one for the repeating chapters, but they do carry over a lot of stuff. And that one reads so much like early noughties Viz translation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because a lot of it was very wrestler feeling. I think because they had a lot of superhero writers do the adaptation stuff. Not with Shaman King though, weirdly. I think that's just a coincidence. But it's such a good line. The whole thing's great line. It's just real cool stuff, and like it reveals that it's the knee popo punch.
Oh yeah. Who wants to get frostbite next?
It does sound like it did. Of course, his original "Mess with me, you'll get frostbite." this whole thing is just the pre-opening one-liners are amazing.
It's beautiful. And poor Ryu's pompadour.
Oh my god, I love this so much. You split my precious ultra heartful pompadour, and then it's just like Takei just gives up, and it's like split in two and like left like that, and then like I think in the next chapter, like 2 chapters later, it's just the half, like the fact that it's like split in half doesn't matter anymore, and they just both get rounded out.
Yeah, it like starts slicking back as well, slowly.
Yeah, like it's like, oh my god, I love it. It's so insane. It's so zany.
The physics of Ryu's hair is impossible.
Ryu's hair physics is like the 8th mystery of the world.
It's like Takei looked at Kuwabara and it's like, nah, I can do it better.
Well, yeah, because he saw the one thing Kuwabara was missing, which was a pretty face, and went,
God. Oh my god.
It's kind of true,
fire!
though.
The fire!
But, hey, now.
If they weren't already dead in Yu Yu Hakusho, I mean, if they weren't dead already in Yu Yu Hakusho, they would be dead now.
Well,
Oh no. I gotta say, though, Ryu's kind of split, like, pompadour definitely makes him look like more of a villain for the Kokiri Angel Cupid Tamao, like, chapter at the end.
Oh yeah, Tamao also has the Capcom feet there. She got the big Tezuka feet.
Yeah, oh god, I love the Kokiri Angel Cupid strips. Even though they're mostly just the gag of, Ryu's been kicked in the balls, and also is maybe a little bit of a predator. But,
yeah.
I've ruined it for myself now, actually. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I just tried not speaking it out loud.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just such a cute little fun strip to have. And you get the stuff with, like, Ponchi as a director and Conchi as a cameraman, and that. It's like, I don't know. The Ren and Stimpy thing's kind of difficult, especially because John K's a terrible human being now, and I feel like anytime we have to talk about any cartoon character or comic character, we keep falling into these traps. But like Ponchi and Conchi really are like such great comedic bits to this series. Like, I think they exist well outside of the Ren and Stimpy homage.
Yeah, I agree. I do love, like, on the last bonus chapter page, like, it's them, like, hitting Ryu's nuts, and the kanji for the fin is, like, right over it.
It's what you would call an artfully placed.
That's beautiful.
Wow, so we've made it through one of the 2 volumes.
Yay, progress.
Oh, which brings me to one of the best contents pages in the whole series. Volume 9's contents pages is Spirit of Fire and How Facing Away, which again is like such a nice tease, but it's the little touches, because Spirit of Fire's hands have rings that say Shaman King on it, and his antlers say Shaman King. So it's like Takai really wants you to know what his series is called.
Yes.
Even though you've already made it to the contents of the 9th volume, please know it's Shaman King.
I love the implication that like Spirit of Fire is just like conjuring it on its like right hand, and it's like purposely like moving out of the frame while holding Hao on the left arm, just to like frame it like that. Like,
Yeah, he's doing a selfie.
Doing so much like effort just to like place Hao in the frame.
It's all just because Hao's such a drama queen. He's like, yeah, I want to do this nice pose.
True.
Yeah, it'll get me more followers.
True. How
God.
literally has
Shaman,
that was like the first verified shaman on Twitter.
Shaman King, yeah, Shaman King, but how like tweets about everything he's doing. Everything else is the same though.
The premier shaman influencer.
God, he'd end up with a lot more support for like just ending the world like he wants to. If he had Twitter on his side.
But then again, the patch invented Apple, so
Yeah,
I guess how being like an influencer on Twitter makes sense.
I'm sure they've done it in the comic, right? I know they have to have. But whenever they need to update some of their technology, do they give it a patch?
This is why we invited you, Maxy.
The patch
Yes.
notes. Ugh.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
did
funny.
you guys know the sound of doing up a belt is squick?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's
no.
something you can learn from reading Shaman King. Do up your belt with a squick whenever you're ready to go and fight your father. And we all must occasionally fight our fathers.
Yeah, it is destiny.
You know what they say? Kill your... No, I don't want to talk about that one.
Okay.
Now,
Well, 'cause look, if anybody knows their Oedipus, you know what comes after kill your father.
Oh no. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
No, that. Yeah, no.
Whoops! Walked into that one.
Okay. I feel
Yeah,
I feel ashamed that it took me a little while to realize where that was going.
It's alright, I got halfway through saying it before I remembered where it was from.
Oh. But yeah, before Ren faces off against his father, though, I do like kind of the little team up moment he has with Yo, where he's fighting like a few of the Jiangxi. Like, there's this really cool spread on like I think it's page 22. Like, they're just like back to back using their oversouls, like badasses.
Oh, against the Torture Brothers.
Dude, they have such fat nipples.
Oh my god! What?
Sakaki is so brave for that, to be honest.
What the fuck?
In a world where shonen manga are drawn with no nipples,
You could
he
feed
places
a
the
family of
fattest
five
ones
off
on
those nipples.
this
Oh
villain.
my god.
He is so
I
brave.
can't I can't unsee this now. This is ruined for me forever.
Marion, why? Just why?
Do you think that those nipples were sewn on, or were they part of the original body?
Were they?
You know what?
Taken from the optimal nipple body and attached to this body that was the best at something else.
I mean,
Exactly.
considering how pointy N's nose is, he probably is a very big stickler for those pointy details.
Yeah.
God.
It's probably quite cold down in the dungeon as well. So, like, you could cut.
I don't want to talk about this. God.
Oh, this is also one of our rare volumes that has a color page that isn't in color.
Yeah.
Because it's Reincarnation 73 is the original cover to Volume 7, which in these editions has been redrawn. So it, in some ways, it would have been redundant having color because you've already got it on the cover, but it's a different cover now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So it would have been nice to having color because then you could do a much more direct compare and contrast.
It could have been much worse. We could have had the cover of Yo in the monkey suit without color.
Okay, I have to talk about the monkey suit. Like, do you guys know what the deal is with the monkey suit?
Yeah, well, it was part of a jump cover, I think, for like a New Year special, and then he couldn't. I don't know what was the underlying reason, but like he basically had to reuse that for the volume cover.
Yeah, I think this was around the point where he started really struggling with getting Shaman King to where it needed to be. Like, he was trying to like head towards an ending with the series, like get his ducks in a row and stuff. And I think things were falling by the wayside. So you had like the small monkey drawing being used for a whole cover. You had the black and white jump cover that got used for a cover as well.
Wow.
Which I think might be one of the only black and white like jump covers ever. Like it's like a sort of shadowy grayscale look at Yo's face.
Oh yes. I remember
Oh
that.
yeah.
Which might have been the last cover that Shaman King ever received as well. When I think about it, would have been I think that might have been the 5th anniversary. don't hold me to this. This is really me trying to remember stuff that I'm not the hottest at remembering. But like the fact that monkey got used is one thing, but when it came to redoing these covers for the Kodansha editions, the fact he went like, not only am I going to redraw the monkey, I'm going to make it one of the most dynamic images in all of the covers, because it's like gone from just being goofy comedy monkey to full on running diagonally at the camera monkey, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like, dang, that's a glow up.
I like how, because we're having the Zhangxi storyline, they actually connect it to Volume 2 by having Pyron's master Shaman be like brought back in this body, especially because you don't get a real grip on him in Volume 2. Like, you have to think him not being in the body, being like freed from the Tau control, really meant that he was able to function in that fight, but he could have been in this zombie body all along as well, like, because Anna can pull spirits from anywhere. She could have literally have just pulled that spirit, not knowing it was in this zombie body, chucked it into Yo, and then it just went back afterwards. Like,
yeah, because for all we know, like, the way that they explain how they basically like break spirits' minds as they like stuff them into Jiangxi or whatever. Like, for all we know, like, and I would actually prefer not to be told if this is right or wrong or whatever. But like when Anna pulled out his spirit, and like he was just like the old man with his memories of the student or whatever. Like, I would like it if that was actually the case, and it was just like actually pulled from that body. And he just had no memories of being like in the Tao household.
Yeah, because he's like been that shattered, which is also why he's like even more like weird and half senile and stuff as well. Is because like he's been broken. You get that one little bit of lucidity before the volume ends, where he's like, Pyron's benefited from you or whatever.
Exactly.
Oh, and then we get Pyron having a fight. Like, I always feel weird when Pyron's part of stuff, because he's not an oversoul, but he is also one of the coolest characters in all of Shaman King.
I just love martial arts in general, and just like the way that THICC like draws imagery with like like the rockets and like just like the poses. I really love page 30 with just like the rocket kick like going up, and we see like the silhouette. Just think of the silhouette of basically Pyron's master doing like the split, but like, you know, while standing, and like the way that the pants, like you see like the creases where it's stitched, but like the silhouette just looks amazing. And then with like Yo blocking and him like spinning in the air, it's just like, it looks amazing. Just the poses is awesome.
Just the quality of the design work on the characters really shines when Kai's doing action, because like it all blends seamlessly. Even if it's a really detailed character, he picks what needs to be there while Psyche's in motion.
Exactly. Like you, like the clothes that they wear are like baggy, but then like it works to its advantage, because then you see how like I was saying, they're doing like the split while standing, and then the curvature of the pants is just like it does the same kind of silhouette as the rocket behind it, which is just, it adds to the effect.
I really like the one page where it's like June and Pyron's like basically like meteoring down on his master, and like you just have June all in black.
Well, and the lead up to it's great as well. Just her like calmly clipping her hair up as a shaman starts to attack. She's just like, I've made up my mind, and then suddenly just Pyron's there and about to like destroy him. It's their relationship, as based in horror as it is just fantastic. Like, read Red Crimson. I keep saying it. Read Red Crimson. It is the German Pyron manga, and it is so good. Also, horrors in it. I don't know.
No one cares about him.
So let's talk about page 42. We've had a pretty good row on. Oh, go ahead.
I discovered it. It was page 40 where Ryu's hair is split in half, but like both sides just suddenly became hearts.
Oh, the double heart.
And we got the sound effect for it. It was squick.
It's the same as doing up your belt.
We've solved
And like the one strand in between is also a heart.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Perfect.
yeah.
Convenience.
But the thing is, he's not even conscious. Like he's just instinctively gone. Woman is here. Not that necessarily gender's a restriction to Ryu, but you know,
True.
someone attractive to him is nearby. He can sense that. That's the best way of putting it. And then we get the final panel of the chapter, which just means we once again get to see Taoen's, I guess, cockpit codpiece thing.
Yeah, he's going Lord Genome.
Like my
Oh my god.
Yeah.
my original assumption was
shit.
like it was like a Zone of the Enders sort of thing, and like the real Taoen is inside there. But as we learn
That's what I
later,
thought.
he's just standing on the floor between his own legs, which isn't quite as impressive.
Like, you'd think that they'd see him at some point if that's all he's doing.
Yeah. Oh god, and there's a crotch theme as well, because then you get to the Torture Brothers profile page where the younger brother Flogger has just grown a what appears to be some sort of gooey codpiece.
Yeah,
Ew.
Takei really has a thing with crotches here, because, like, yeah, look at Taoen, like, he has a giant cylinder, like, for his dick.
Oh, like, yeah, well, this is the thing, 100%. Like, Hiroyuki Takai loves drawing a meaty crotch.
True.
Like, especially as he gets further into his career and he's drawing more and more, like, big men, like, you know,
We
Taoenish
must go
sort of
wider.
men, big men, chunky men. Like, they'll almost always just have, like, a presence of crotch, and you're just like, good on you, Takai.
I have an important
you do
question.
you. Yeah.
Do you guys think that Blogger's left nipple is the pipe?
Why are you so fixated on nipples?
I mean, it's in my face, VLord. I have to point it out.
I mean, to be fair, it is. I think it is.
Well, I think
Honestly?
it's
Now,
supposed
does that
to-
imply that it's his nipple going around his body in the tubing?
Well, no, because here's the thing, right? Is because of how he's drawn the angle, it doesn't look like that part of the tubing's going anywhere after that point either. So, like, that's like one end of a worm.
Ew.
Wait, is it actually a tube, or is it just a really big, gross earthworm?
It looked like a finger at first for me.
Oh, I've made this worse for myself. I don't like this.
Yeah, it does look like a finger, because that part looks like a nail.
Takei was like, he needs more fingers. We're gonna give him a giant sausage finger on his nipple.
Oh,
Yep.
not that his other nipple isn't also giant, but you know. Whereas
I mean-
Shackler, to balance this, has no nipples. Make of this what you will.
We know who Worst Boy is.
He gave his nipples to his younger brother.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's just
that's the older
just what
brother's
you do.
job.
They're torture brothers, not barbarians. Come on, give them some credit.
So I
God.
think there was a comic happening in between the profile pages, but I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Because we've entered nipple land.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we
Nick
could
Man.
go on.
I think
we
it's
could
crazy
go on.
how Takei is just like when he draws like his big beefy men, like looking for the Reincarnation 74 title page, the cover page is like he draws the forearms and the arm, or he draws the forearms and the hands bigger than the actual like the biceps and the triceps. It's just like that makes it look freakish.
Well, like he's
Check that.
Popeyeing.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I love that on the next page immediately after that we're treated to another really close up view. We're treated to another close up view of like his crotch, just right there,
Yes.
just in case you forgot. Just
Takei was very proud of that Magnum doll.
You know, the more I keep looking at Taoen, I don't know if it's because of his Oversoul's lips, but this is part of me that keeps thinking, like, do you think he saw Muscle Punch in the earlier volumes and was just like, yeah, I want my Oversoul to look like him, and just, like, gave it a beard?
You know what?
God, I
think,
would not.
Like silhouette wise, like it is like distinctive the way that he did just like the face with the nose, the mustache, and like the hair. I don't know if the lips were necessary, but
I mean, it's really iconic design, and because, like, big lips aren't a racial stereotype for cartoon depictions of Chinese people, to my knowledge, it's not quite as awkward as other times that Takai does it. It's Kinnikuman lips.
Okay. Yeah, it is the Kinnikumanos. I just noticed something else.
Oh god.
From page 44, like as soon as like Ryu like notices Tao En, and like 2 pages later, and he screams, that's the moment that we get his hair like pushed back.
Oh yeah.
So the reason his hair is like combed back is just because he was so shocked.
I mean, it's that, or he felt the presence of N's beard and was like, my hair can do that.
I must compensate.
That's so funny.
I like how like the Oversoul thing becomes even more clear when N like disappears and reapparates behind Ren a few pages later, and just suddenly is also a chair.
True.
Nothing personnel, son.
Yes, that's exactly. Thank you, Sakaki. Nothing personnel.
There are things going on in this manga, but we're not going to talk about them. Go read it yourself.
I mean, like, talking about the actual in-depth part of the fight itself, I do like how, like, this is very much Ren's fight. Like, you don't see Yo kind of, like, really kind of butting in until the very end, where he's, like, trying to protect Ren. And it definitely helps show, like, hey, Ren has definitely grown since we've last seen him.
Yeah. Well, and even with it being Ren's fight, it still feels like this great moment when all of his friends are like standing up again, and Pyron's pulling himself out the wall with like bits of brick coming off of him. Like it's somehow both a team fight and just Ren's fight, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. It's more like they're like covering defensively, and Ren is taking all the shots.
Yeah. And then, you know, we get revealed that N's an Oversoul, but in a way that I don't think matches how Oversouls work necessarily. Because the idea is Ren deactivates his Oversoul, and so N's Oversoul passes through him. But the point of Oversouls is that they can interact with the physical world. So it's like, I don't know if it's... I think the no prize answer is that N's so shocked by Ren doing this that he loses control over his own Oversoul. But it's it just seems like such a weird way of revealing it.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh,
like,
it was a cockpit!
A cockpit.
Page 70, yeah, no, 100%. His crotch thing, because page 72, I've never noticed this before in all my years of reading this. I always thought he was just standing, like, inside the spirit, but he's actually climbing out of the cockpit.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yo, this is like if Frieza's little, like, hover ship thing had, like, a stand.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
I'm just imagining a giant Frieza.
Put that on a t-shirt on a website and people buy it because it's a mashup. I don't know what the t-shirt websites are called, so I couldn't make that as strong a joke as I could.
God.
Though going back to what you were saying, Maxy, like, I guess Yo sort of lampshades that, or well, Yo and Horo on page page 71, because they both kind of say a shaman materialized the ghost with his mana, and mana is generated by willpower. When it falters, the oversoul becomes less substantial.
Yeah. So they do.
So they do actually, lampshade.
Yeah, so I think I was massively underselling that, because I think that part slipped my mind entirely, and I think most times I've read this, I've just seen, this has happened, and gone like, not paid attention to the actual comic, which would also explain how I missed Tao En coming out of the giant cockpit.
Yeah.
I'm so mature.
It's important that we all enjoy the cockpit. And we get to see N's real form, where amazingly the one thing that's consistent is his strange beard.
The one thing Mata feared most.
With good reason now.
Yeah.
We went really quiet. Did we all just start enjoying the comic?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we started remembering that we were reading Shaman King again, and so it's like, oh.
Well,
and then I was reminded of the giant dragon with his oversoul face.
N makes this ridiculous but also amazing dragon with his own face on the end, and you just
I will say that that's like the one like imagery from the anime that I do remember, like as a kid.
Right. And then you get Ren's response, which is manifesting his stand over Soul, and just the absolutely beautiful big one page saying "Woe boo me, I shall not waver," which is
that shit
just
is badass.
that is like iconic Ren panel right there, up with some others that we probably shouldn't talk about yet.
I think that's the smallest we've ever seen Basan's head.
Oh God!
I think
Yeah.
so, maybe.
It's so tiny. It's cute.
Wait, so is Barsong's chest the big gem chest thing? Do you think
Yes.
that's Ren being influenced by his father and thinking that eventually I can have like my own sort of
My own
cockpit, but
cockpit.
I'll put it in a chest?
Maybe.
Because it almost looks like
God.
he could climb into it at this point, which is a big
Honestly,
step
maybe.
over back in Volume 7 when it was just a big hit me button for Yo to pop Barson with in the fight.
You know what? I just realized maybe this whole time, Tao En was just jealous that Basan is loyal to Ren, and he made his own Oversoul have a tiny head because he wanted Basan.
He wanted his own tiny head man, yeah. I mean, don't you all want your own tiny head man?
I mean, and the head keeps getting smaller each chapter, and I love it because on the start of 76, it's like even smaller than it was.
True.
It's like not there. You could actually just not have a head there.
It's actually that's kind of gruesome, that page, because like you see like it's like blood squirting out of his eyeball or eye socket.
yeah.
Yuck.
Actually,
Oh God, yeah. So consider,
Pretty
if you
gross.
will, I want you to imagine.
And his nose is being splat like pushed in.
Oh God, yeah, like a spring. That's beautiful. So I want you to imagine Dragon Ball in its entirety, reading the whole series, watching the whole series, and every time they summon the dragon, instead of Shenron,
No.
So where is this going?
this one with its fucking end face on it.
Can you imagine like Shenron with like Tao En's face like conjuring like panties?
Oh, and then you get to
Oh,
Nava, and it's like
no.
got the entire upper body of Taoen instead.
Oh God.
Okay, that actually might be
Somebody-
kind of cool.
Somebody draw this. I'll fund it.
But yeah, as I was saying before, though, I do like once Ren gets that good hit in, like his mom and his grandpa just show up. His grandpa just has a freaking gun.
He has two guns, one in
Yes.
each hand, and the thing with Zen
Shaman King.
is no matter what situation he's in, he will point his guns at people. It's like he's so
I like that his
full on.
gun. I like that his gun have tassels on them too. That's just he
Oh,
knows
and
how to
really,
do things with
really
style.
ornate pictures on the handle. On page 88, you'll see it's actually got like a full carving on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
it looks like maybe like an ancestor or something.
Yeah, and maybe a constellation at the very top of it as well.
Oh yeah, that is a constellation.
It's really good. Also, you get to see where Zen's tattoo is, which is on his chest. So, like the Tao family crest, which is just like the Taoist yin yang symbol. Like most of them get it on their front, which really makes you wonder why they had to do it on Ren's back instead.
Oh,
not
true.
enough real estate.
Yeah, it's because they needed to make sure that he could still have his nipples, didn't they?
This podcast has become very fixated on nipples.
Wait, hold on. Back on the Woe Boo Me page, the Alshanat Waver, Ren doesn't have nipples. He totally could have had a tattoo on his front.
That's weird then. Huh.
What is the rule for which characters have nipples and which don't? I just said napples.
I think
What the
they
fuck?
have to be older than like teenager, probably.
That's probably the marker. I was assuming it was only for more corpulent characters, but that makes more sense.
God,
Favorite episode, hands down.
not every character can be Kamina,
Apparently not.
Oh no.
originator of anime nipple, because we all know Gurren Lagann came out in 2006, and there was no such thing as anime before 2006.
I've never seen a single episode of Gurren Lagann.
Maybe that's for the best, because I don't think it aged that well.
I mean, I think it's aged fairly well.
I think the middle is insufferable.
I like the middle.
I think
I mean, it's,
like after episode 6 until like the last couple, it's just really hard to sit through.
It's a Studio Trigger show, isn't it?
Well, it's like it's Gynax, but it's like people who
Trigger
went on to
staff,
make
yeah.
Trigger.
Yeah, like the people who went on to be Trigger.
Yeah, like Hiroki actually.
The middle of the show being insufferable is just kind of expected in those circumstances.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I mean, if you've seen Kill la
like
Kill, it's like kind of similar.
yeah, like,
Very similar.
For every Trigger show I've ever watched, it's always been starts strong, the middle completely sucks, and the ending's okay.
Yeah, that's about right. I think people are more fond of it because of movies, and like the movies are, it's like a 2-part movie, and like the finale for the second movie completely like ramps up the spectacle in a good way.
That's been my trick. I am trying to be good at watching movies. I watched 26 movies I've never seen before last year.
Nice.
Like a person who experiences new things that aren't just comics. I felt like a real adult.
That's me when I started reading light novel.
That's funny though, because I think the middle is like the best part of Gurren Lagann.
VLord, everyone
Like-
hates Roshu.
Wait, it hates what?
Everyone hates Roshu, and the middle part is all about Roshu.
Is it though?
Well, kinda.
Isn't that like the third, fourth of the parts about Roshu?
Yeah. It's like after the time skip, then yeah, it does become
That part, like that little portion before the final like fourth, that part's the worst part. But the pre-time skip stuff after episode 6, I think, is really good.
Maybe I'm just conflating the time skip. I think the time skip is like 12 episodes worth of crap.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, I could see that. But yeah, no, it's only like the first part ends at like episode 16, I want
Yeah,
to say.
16 and then 17 is the recap.
And 18 is when the time skip starts. And yeah, that stuff is
Yeah.
like insufferable.
So like the last
Like
10 episodes are post-time skip.
Yeah, it felt like
Yeah,
20
and then,
episodes.
So
like,
I'd say like 5 of those episodes are kind of hard to watch. And then once Viral shows up again and actually is doing stuff, then I think that's when it hits back into high gear.
It really did feel like 20 episodes.
But yeah, this isn't a Gurren Lagann podcast though.
Sorry.
Let's
yeah.
go start with VLord. Let's do it right now.
It's,
Let's just do it.
it's over a decade old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hear me
Anyway,
out, guys.
no.
But my favourite part of Gurren Lagann is when Ren's father gives him the Baolei sword.
Yes.
And I think it's nice and iconic, and I think it opens a path to Ren having a weapon that doesn't take up as much room on a page as his halberd sort of thing does.
I do like halberds, but I respect your opinion.
Yeah, I think that was probably the logic behind it though. It's like, oh, okay, less work.
I feel like I keep falling into a trap on something here, but I have to discuss it in these terms. So the series Busou Renken had a problem with its original weapon design for a lance weapon that it uses for like the first few volumes, because as it turns out, that's a real pain in the ass to draw in fights, and I feel like Ren's original weapon is very much in that territory as well. Like, the reason swords get used a lot in manga isn't just because swords are cool, it's because a sword fits in an action scene.
True.
Yeah.
I would simply read Kingdom instead.
Wait, read what?
Kingdom with the giant fucking lances.
Kingdom.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that fucking bend and shit, and like,
I would simply bend
those
the
are
spear like a kingdom.
yeah, it just bends.
Kingdom's trick is that it can have really big panels because a fight can go on for like 2 fucking volumes or so.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe that's why Kingdom has so many spreads, so you can fit in all the giant swords.
Physics does not exist in Kingdom. It's just the spears, just like fucking. They're like Play-Doh, and I love it.
I want to say
I do too. Like,
I was reading Young Jump for, I don't know, probably about a year before I moved on from it. And whilst I wasn't reading Kingdom from it, I swear down over that whole year, it was one large battle viewed from a few different angles. Like, that series makes room for whatever it needs to, whether it's big weapons or big scenes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about Kingdom. It's basically like a bunch of giant battles at this point.
60 issues I was reading Young Jump for. My god. I can't remember anything from it. Except for We Are Magical Boys, which is a very good comic.
But yeah, going back to Shaman King,
Yeah, sorry,
Everybody loves Bob.
Oh, yeah, no. Everybody Loves Bob, the new hit single, and it distracts Yo from his shaman mail, which notification is just the big words shaman mail on screen.
You've got Shamail.
Yeah.
Oh, which leads us into the color page. 'Cause, you know, I don't think we've had any color pages over these 2 volumes except for this one.
Yeah, I think this is the only one.
But it's real nice,
Yeah.
and it's so brilliantly color coded because you've got Yo with his like orange and black that comes from his shaman fight uniform, and like Ren's got the yellow glow over everything. Horohoro's got the blue, and Ryu's got the pinky purple.
I
So,
love how Ryu has the sunglasses too.
Yeah.
Like,
The lighting is so moody.
Yeah, I was about to say I like the sheen and everything the light gives off. It's very, yeah, I guess it's just very like, well, moody, as Marion said, and I dig that, especially on like Yo as well too. It's like everybody's got the sheen on them. It looks really cool.
Yo's about to drop the sickest beat of the 1990s.
Oh,
So there was another cover that's perfect for that. I don't know if it was this volume, but it was one with Yo and Ren on it, like wearing like jackets, and they were like back to back.
It was that one and the Ryu spread that they cut out of the Kodansha release.
yeah. The Ren the one you were mentioning, the Ren and Yo ones from the start of this volume, where he's wearing like the big fluffy coat, like he's a member of Oasis. It's brilliant.
I like that too.
Also, Yo's holding an ancient blade that I don't think's even been in the story at this point. But you know, hold that in your brain because that's super relevant.
Oh yeah, God, that doesn't show up for like volumes. I didn't even realize that. Damn.
Wow, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
That's
You know what else
okay.
is foreshadowing?
Technically, we get to see it, but it's going to be in a box, so you know.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, go on. What else is foreshadowing?
Oh, yeah. If you go
a
to
regular show joke,
if
I'm
you
sorry.
God.
No, go ahead.
If you go to page 108 and you see Manta is as tall as Yo's butt, and
Oh my
that foreshadows like how relevant he's going to be in the future.
Oh, but they have
I don't like that.
Also, I like how they have very different strengths to their piss. You know, it's Tinkle Tinkle versus because
It's
the
that
strength of your
potential
piss is
energy,
relative
you
to
know?
your height. Yeah,
Yeah, it's that potential energy. Like Yo has that much more distance to go.
but I like the idea that in theory that means the bigger a character gets, the more powerful it is. Like once you start getting up to the size of like that guy from earlier who had like the giant pyramid head from that crowd scene, I bet when he pisses, it's like a thick yellow cable.
God. It probably
Imagine
sounds
his nipples as well, guys. Oh,
I can't breathe.
It probably makes the same sound as when you jumpstart a car or something.
oh, I was drinking. Shit.
Though I think the most important part of this specific chapter is where Yo potentially got laid, baby ?
Yes. Before we get to that though, as I'm scrolling towards it, there's a point where Punchy and Conchi are like chilling out in the kitchen while Tamal's doing some cooking, and I've never really thought about it before. But Conchi's tail, right? It's supposed to represent his penis, but I've never really thought about how it has a condom over the end of it before.
Oh, I thought that was just like a cell thing,
Yeah, I thought that was a cell thing.
like from Dragon Ball.
I mean, it
like
might be
Cell's tail
inspired
the
by
same
it.
way.
So-
That's kind of gross.
Oh,
yeah, God.
Hey, also before we get to the alleged sex scene, massive redraw alert on page 113.
Oh, with
most
Horo.
the most blatant standout. This is a different like era drawing as Horo goes from being this curvy soft boy to suddenly being like angular and really bishy. Is that a thing people still say? Someone said bishy to me recently, and I like had flashbacks. It was horrible. He was really pretty, is my point there. He's just suddenly gone,
I see
ooh.
it.
Yeah, I
and
see
he
it.
got the Shoujo Sparkle.
Yeah, and he gets his Ikapo Soi, which is an Ainu prayer stick, one of his new shamanic focuses, much like Ren with his extendable sword, and way, way easier to put in fight scenes, which again keeps bringing up this idea to Kai's trying to streamline his shamanic focuses to be smaller and easier to handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell just by the time he was using a surfboard like on his arm, Takei was running out of ideas.
But yeah, so, and then Anna brings a mysterious package and a bag with Yo's clothes into Yo's room, throws them at him, being like, "Oh, you've gone to bed without saying a word to me," and then walks off and immediately comes back after going, "Tonight's your last night in this house. Can I sleep beside you?" Yo looks very serious and says, "Sure." And this is Anna fulfilling one of her duties, which is to make sure that if Yo fails, there is still an heir to the Asakura bloodline.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they get busy.
That's what the kids are call. That's what the kids are calling it now. Okay, I
And
see.
so I had to work out the timing for this because Hannah has to have been conceived in like August of 2000, I think, to be born at the right time, which I believe is when this is now.
Oh, well, damn.
Yeah, no, I had to do a whole big workout for it. So this is the conception of Hannah Asakura.
Well, damn.
The timeline gets kind of weird past this point for it to work past there because everything gets like hyper decompressed once the actual shaman fight begins. But it's a really iconic moment that's kind of like softly ignored. But Yo appearing to the rest of the group with a grin on his face and just being like, "Okay, let's go," like nice happy face. Is something we will see replicated later with another character, which has me convinced that Yo is not, in fact, the only character to get his end away throughout the series. Ugh, get his end away. I'm too English sometimes. Ugh.
What the fuck does that mean, Maxy?
You know,
What did you just say to me?
he got his slap and tickle and he put it in the oyster ditch. It's fine.
Hello?
Marion, when two people love each other very much.
You telling me no fucks?
He got his jelly deal and he put it in the soup bowl. It's fine.
It did.
Oh my god.
Everyone has heard the song Foxtrot Uniform Charlie Kilo by Bloodhound Gang. That'll tell you all the different ways. You know, you dip the cranny axe in the bit drinkle, all those sorts of things.
Wow. Anna got her egg fertilized.
What the fuck?
Why is that?
That's how I feel when hearing you guys use these weird phrases.
Listen, just keep it simple. Yo oversold into his girl. That's it.
Filled her with his spirit.
Our brains are just in the toilet this episode.
Oh. I mean, it could be worse. He could have used a Midamaru for spirit integration, but thankfully he was...
No.
Please.
What the fuck?
He was busy hanging out with Tokugero.
Okay, moving on.
Actually, can we go back to page 115 where Ryu has like the shikishi with like all his friends writing on it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Grow the best pompadour ever from Ball Boy. That's like the most wholesome shit. And then like if you turn it like all the way around, I fell in love at the dance club. Space shot. You're a man among men. Good luck. P.S. I've always loved you by Muscle Punch. Is
There you go.
Muscle Punch gay confirmed?
To Kai's insertion of a Kinnikuman style character has fallen in love with one of his favorite characters of his own series. It was meant to be.
We love to see it.
I think that is supposed to be a confession. I don't think we really get to see much of what becomes of the characters outside of like where they end up working in that over time. I like to think Muscle Punch is somewhere out there with his own delinquent of his own.
I hope so too. He deserves it.
So the character profile number 41 makes me feel like more of an idiot for doubting the cockpit because it just explicitly shows Tawin sat in there.
Oh, so the dick case is actually just the pod.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And
he is in fact stored in the balls.
In fact, the tiniest.
No,
no,
Marion, please take it back, Marion. No.
He isn't Papa.
That took me
No!
a second.
God.
I guess he puts it like near his crotch to compensate. I don't know.
Ah! I hate
Well, look, we have a
everything.
man for scale who is smaller than one of his toes, so I think that's a big old dingle dong
Jesus
of a man.
Christ! Oh, that's right. Manta was also in that cover page, where Tao En was, and it's just
He's
like
so
he's
small that you
big.
missed it. He's so
Yeah.
small that you missed him.
Mm. Oh, another crowd scene as well, where they see all the shamans right before the profile pages. Nothing that exciting here, other than the golem again.
I love the golem.
And a certain man in a poncho and sombrero with a guitar case who will have a different name to what he was originally called. And what appears to be, in the bottom middle of the page, a really shit drawing of a monkey.
Is that Curious George with a straw hat?
The real villain of Shaman King.
It's actually Monkey D. Luffy. Actual Monkey D. Luffy.
Haha.
The other one's just an imposter.
So then we get the big double page spread. You'll see this replicated towards the end of the series with certain characters blacked out, but the ones remaining like drawn how they look at the time. And like this is a great touchstone for seeing what characters Takai had really good plans for and which ones he just kind of had here to fill space. Which is surprising because some of them look like complete nobodies and they'll turn out to be incredibly important. And other ones look super unique, like not having a nose, for example, but will not be used in the story at all.
Oh, but before we go too far, page 129,
Yes.
I've actually been struggling to read Yo's, like, there's something written on his headband in Japanese, but I
Yeah,
don't know what that says.
I think it's like Nisoika Yuri.
I think, isn't that not you at the start?
Yeah, it's you
Oh, that's a you? Soika.
I think
Could that
so,
be-
because it's on the front of his jacket, and it looks like a U there.
Eureka.
Eureka.
It's just Eureka.
Eureka Ma, and then
Oh, that's a
Eureka.
re-
Oh, Eureka. Eureka.
It says
Yeah, okay.
twice.
Yeah, Eureka.
It's just saying
Yeah.
Eureka
And then
twice.
it's-
I don't know why that second, like the first it looks like a soul to me.
Yeah, and that's what I was reading it as
Yeah.
at first, but then I was like, it doesn't make sense. But at first I couldn't even read it. That was a U until I looked at Yo's jacket, and it's definitely a U there. So it's Eureka.
There's
So-
such a thing as being too
Okay.
stylized with your lettering, Takai.
Okay.
I like
just
how
want to-
Ryu is wearing is that an astronaut suit?
It what's
What
it?
now?
No, not an astronaut suit. What am I saying? A pilot? Like a pilot?
it is a
Yeah,
pilot
pilot.
suit,
Yeah.
Why did I
It
say
has
that?
Ryu on the shoulder.
He's got a helmet on his shoulder that's got room for his pompadour.
Yeah.
I would ask for nothing less.
Custom made. But yeah, like going back to like the shaman fight like contestants, like I still am bothered by how like different Lucius looks in this like page.
Is that him just above Ludsev?
I think yeah. Because like he has the cross chin.
yeah.
Is that the guy with
Yeah, that's
the
him.
goatee that's like in the shape of a cross?
Yeah.
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 Why does he have eye bags?
He changes massively from this point.
Yeah. Like his remix track's actually at the end of this volume. And you can see like how different he looks like in Takei's current style. It's like it's really jarring.
Yeah.
He actually looks his age in this picture, because isn't he like 50? Like, and then in his later appearances, he looks way younger than that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that always threw me off. But yeah, in this picture, I think Takei was going for that 50-year-old look, and then just as his art evolved, I can't draw him like that. He has to look as fabulous as everyone else, or I can't put him in this series.
Yeah, I mean I think the characters that probably look the closest to like what they eventually look like when they're properly introduced are probably the Hanagumi.
And bows.
And
Because they were already introduced.
Oh, true. Bows, yeah.
Pwned.
But Boris looks pretty much correct, and Ludsev and Seiram don't look wrong. Although they also look really worried about something, so I wonder if there was plans for a scene of like introducing them at this point that just didn't happen. Which for
just
context,
telling them
people,
cool.
page 130, bottom right corner, you've got two children who look really pressed by something happening, but you don't get to learn what, as far as I know.
they had just seen the character profile for Tao and were wondering why is he in the cockpit?
Can I ride the cockpit?
It is interesting that THICC didn't do any redraws for these 2 pages, because I was double checking with the Viz release of Volume 9, and I didn't see any distinct differences at all.
Well, I think it was important to keep them looking this way because of the contrast it has with when they revisit it towards the end of the series. Like, I think it's I don't know if it's something that Takai's proud of necessarily, but I think it's something that he thought was interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You've got God, there's so many ones. I've said off the episode, but I'll say again. Hiroyuki Takai and 2 of his assistants are among this selection. Takai is a strange bug-helmeted guy next to the guy in the sombrero. And then another one of his assistants is next to Boris, I think.
The guy with the beard and the Tao and lips.
Yeah, that would have been the best way of describing him. And then I think Yusuke Takayama is supposed to be the one that's on just one off from the bottom right of page 131, but he won't look like that by the time he turns up in a remix track. So it's all weird to keep up with.
These designs are all cool. It reminds me a lot of like super early Hunter x Hunter, where Togashi drew like all these unique character designs for the Hunter exam.
Well, like it makes me think of things like the opening spread for Bleach, the very first one.
I was thinking of that too.
The prototype pictures of different characters, some of whom wouldn't turn up for years.
Yeah, like Shinji.
Yeah. And like this is the stuff I love. It's where you get hints for the future and you get to see how it plays out, which is something that always bothers me with things like Zombie Powder, Kubo's first series, which had so many characters revealed in that way, and we never got to learn because the series got cancelled.
That wonderful 4-volume run.
I mean, I don't know about wonderful, but I read it a lot.
With the fire.
Mm-hmm. I like how Ren is just casually sampling food, and Horror's like, "What?"
Yeah, like just.
And then of course, like the awkwardness is like, why are you all blushing? Like,
again, it's the gap in the way.
Smug, and he's smug, sparkling, and he has like food like around his lips.
So I'm not saying we've been too filthy on this episode of the podcast, but I'm seeing Callum with his chocolate dipped bananas, and I don't want to look at them. I just want to move on. But...
Oh, you want to move on after making us see it? Okay, I got it.
I like how it is really odd how Ren just lampshades being like, "Ha, I bet you were having sex, yo. I can tell."
He's like, high five, man. You got laid.
Maybe Ren was under a similar pressure, but his family don't have any friends or like people to set him up with, so he has to wait much longer into the series. In fact, I think his is post-series. And then you get his wonderful poop head child in the future.
God,
I think his poop head child shows up in the end of the series, but they don't say who the mother is.
Kind of. I don't think technically within the end of this series, but in Fumbari no Uta, the temporary epilogue to the series that's now non-canon.
Oh, okay, yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that THICC would just BTFO all the Ren and Horror shippers like that.
Well, I mean, Horror may have stayed pure. He doesn't have any children as far as I know.
Yeah, because he was saving himself for Ren.
Yeah, well, or if you watch the anime, there's this whole thing where he's thinking of his sister at one point, and apparently it's to evoke innocence. Like he imagines her as like this, like celestial naked being. But then you think about it for a second, you're going, horror, why are you imagining your sister naked? So
That's
he could have gone either way in dodginess.
Horror, this isn't Domestic Girlfriend. We don't do that here.
Jesus.
Is that really? I've only read one volume of Domestic Girlfriend. Is that where that goes?
I mean, yeah, the main character gets his like stepsister pregnant.
VLord's told me this before, and every time I hear it, I still am just like, how? Or well, not how.
Case Asuka has
Okay, so when two people, the genitals interlock, if they've got the right ones,
I already know that. I've heard the song, and I've heard the song you mentioned, and I've seen Yo. So that's what I meant.
Maxie, this is how Domestic Girlfriend ends. So the main character gets the sister pregnant, but also his older sister, who used to be his teacher, is in a coma, and he's still in love with her. So after a few years of them raising this child, he decides to stop having a relationship with his sister and marries his other sister, who used to be his teacher.
So she's out of the coma?
She suddenly wakes up from the coma after like the child he had with his other sister puts their wedding ring on her instead.
That's insane.
That's really fucked up, man.
That's insane. Case Asuka, like, I don't know. He probably smokes a lot of something.
He probably does.
You know who doesn't smoke? Hao does, because that's what his brother does.
Yeah, I mean, this chapter also kind of gives us a better introduction to Hao. Like, at least him, like, confronting Yo.
I mean, the official introduction, because we see his face in full.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see that he looks weirdly like Yo, and he uses the spirit of fire to punch out horror.
I really like that angle. Just like the fist coming from like the gutter, and then just horror is like, boom, breaking the freaking beam. It's not nice horror with the freaking scary smile.
Yeah. God, it's such a good introduction because it's just like he's so overwhelmingly strong that it just completely like sets the challenge of this guy, but because you don't really know what his deal is yet. Like, all you see is him, you see all these other shamans, and you think, like, oh, these guys must be that strong too.
Yeah, it's a shaman harem.
True.
I mean, hopefully not all of them, because one of them is a small child.
That's their child. Don't worry about it. That's their adopted child.
Mary?
That's their adopted child. Don't worry about it.
And I guess there's a Lego man as well, and he doesn't really come out of his cage, and he's doing just fine. Sorry, I've gone into a song now.
I was just about to start singing it, but you beat me to the realization.
Yeah. I mean, not to downplay the Lego man. I mean, it's, you know, you can be a limbless Lego man if you want, and that's absolutely valid. I just think it probably adds some complications, because if you've ever trod on Lego, you don't want that in a harem.
Actually, on that note, like, he's not wearing them now, but Hao has like a pair of Lego shoes.
Yes, I remember that.
So, like, I actually never noticed. It was my cousin reading Shaman King one day, and he was like, "Why does this dude have Lego shoes on?"
Yeah, to the point that because the Hao on the Lego bumps is in the Lego font that's on the bricks as well, which is like such a weird touch. But I guess Bricken just makes everyone's clothes. Bricken Blocken. I got his name wrong.
I knew it was blocking something,
which is a Kinnikuman pun because of Brocken Jr.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay, that's true.
So this is the thing. Like, as much as I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Takai, I think a big part of that is because I'm also a fan of the things that he's a fan of, and that's so weird when you get to feel that so much with an author where you're like, I get this reference every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's neat. I wish I was more exposed to Kinnikuman.
I mean, I only have 4Kids dub. That's as much as I've seen.
I mean, the Ultimate Muscle dub is just fantastic stuff. With my rice, I like to have some cow.
I think I saw the opening in like 2 episodes, but I couldn't get over the guy's lips.
But that's the best part.
It just felt so incongruous with the rest of his design as a kid. I was just like, no, this is kind of ugly. I don't like it.
It is such a weird sell.
I think now that I'm older, I could get behind it more.
I've just scrolled to the title page for chapter 79, and I completely forgot about this.
Oh god, that Ryu hairstyle.
Yeah, the Ryu dragon hair, and there's also like another car in the background that's got a plow on the front and bamboo sticks coming out the back.
Yeah, this page kind of baffled me, but I was also kind of into it.
It's got to be a reference.
I don't know. I think the only weird I think the weirdest part for me is just like the rising sun background. I don't know what's going on there, but I like the fact that Ryu has like hair on his hands. I feel
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah,
Um,
we
I'm
stand a
like,
hairy man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like
Yeah.
hairy boys.
I try not to think about the Rising Sun flag a lot. 'Cause it turns up in a lot of uncomfortable places where you don't really want it to, like in here or the earrings in Demon Slayer and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
I think
like-
the Demon Slayer one isn't like they're like lines. They're not like full out like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
Sunray.
the bolder
yeah.
one.
it's it's not always the worst. Like here, it just feels like it's a design element or whatever, and
Yeah,
I don't think it was necessarily being used as prominently by far right sorts at the time. I mean, it still was, but not as much. Because
he's definitely going for a theme with like the East and like the dragon, and his fan has the red dot as well. So
and I mean, it's less awkward than when Kubo keeps doing stuff with the SS, you know. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was just weird like that. Fucking Kubo.
yeah, like the Stern Ritter, and then all the characters in Burn the Witch.
yeah, sometimes you just like the iconography of Nazis. Man, I shouldn't really be thinking about Kubo too much. Like every decision he makes just makes me be like, oh.
I feel like
Anyway.
I feel like he had just seen like fucking like Gundam 0079 and just saw Xeon and like, oh yeah, you know what? Let me use that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah, I do like in chapter 79 we see like the freaking patch jumbo jet.
I love that shit. And I love the fucking
well, no, because so we learned that the whole jet's an oversoul, which raises the question: why did they put so much effort into having it have this painted look with like gold on the side?
They gotta make it look stylish.
I don't think it actually took that much effort because to make an oversoul you need like a concrete image, right? But like these are all phases of people, so they're literally like looking at each other while they're forming it, and like, oh yeah, I don't even have to think because the image is right in front of me.
I suppose so, but I could be off it. So the concept of closure we have is like we don't picture our own faces how they look. We picture a simplistic iconographic version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to make sure that each person making each part of the jet was looking at someone else's face for that part for it to work. Like the effort involved here, I'm definitely overthinking this, by the way.
You are
You're
because
monumental.
you just stand in a circle and then look at the person to your left or something.
The thing is, if everyone looks to the person at your left, it would all just be pictures of the back of everyone's head.
Not like that. You know, you're facing each other in a circle. Well, you know what? You might have a point.
In the end, though, all the effort that they put into the freaking plane is just kind of useless because, yeah, everyone just gets dropped off it in the middle of the sky.
Oh, which I really love as an idea, as long as you don't think about how some people really probably could have died. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just got to page 159 and I saw like Lucas' early design again.
That changed.
Oh my god, yeah,
world.
see, what's wrong with him?
That changed
Though-
worlds. I feel like
Though, we have to go back to 157, though, just with, like, getting airsick. He's like in a horror host, like, is there a doctor aboard? I just love the comedic timing. At the last part, you just see Faust turn around like, hi.
It's so perfect. And it means Faust has changed hats for the third time.
I just like that because it doesn't. I love those kinds of jokes where the punchline is just silence. Like there could have been a whole thing of horror freaking out that Faust is there, but no, it's just Faust turns around and he's like, yeah. And then we just move to the next thing. I love that. I love those kinds of jokes.
Not touching that.
It's totally what feels like the sort of joke you'd have in a really good 4-coma strip, you know, where
Yeah.
you end on a beat rather than a reaction.
Yes, exactly.
Oh dear. Is the pumpkin laughing along with the rest of House Hammer's crew? Sorry, I'm saying House Hammer because it's what it says on the page. The rest of Hal's crew on page 160. Because they're all having a nice big old laugh, and the pumpkin is joining it. It's climbing over a chair.
oh,
It is laughing.
That's so neat because like we don't really get to see what the deal is with their oversouls till way later. But like now, it's just very clear it's a jack-o'-lantern with limbs.
That's true. Also, there's just so much character in this one panel too, with the way people are like distanced from each other. You have some people distanced from each other. You have some just kind of in the corner, keeping to themselves, probably not laughing, and then even though it's not a whole page spread, it still has a lot of character, which I really like.
It starts to give you a grip on the characters a bit in ways that you wouldn't really get till later with a lot of them. But like even Big Guy Bill, his mask is made to look like a smile at this point. Like they framed the pieces of the mouth guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has stars for nipples.
And he's got a tiny head.
Stop! 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 I'm not gonna be able to read Shaman King anymore thanks to you all. Oh god. The whole time we're talking about him, I'm looking at how small his head is, which I didn't do the first time I read this. I was pure, and you guys defiled this.
How is it defiling? It literally makes it better.
But now I can't read it. I can't read Shaman King without looking at characters' head sizes and wondering.
It's why we broke Sakaki.
You need to think about the nipples, because if you've read the modern manga series, Gravity Boys, then you have to understand the entirety of Shaman King is a lead-in for a different author to go and do a single chapter of his gag series where characters write haikus and stick them on their nipples.
Oh, what's that?
Gravity Boys has a whole chapter dedicated to nipple haikus. So you know the legacy of Job nipples.
But yeah, Shaman King. I do like once they're all launched off, like we see how like all the different shamans are basically creating their own parachutes with like their oversouls.
I actually like slightly before the plane disappears. I think there's a real great joke to the image of all the Patch wearing parachutes with the text below it just saying Patch wearing parachutes.
Yeah.
The falling out of the sky, it's great because you have like the slight character spaces, but almost immediately they're all just like, oh yeah, no, we have powers.
It's like, oh wait, we don't have to die.
Also, the totally underrated thing of the elephant can just fly using its ears.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Dumbo. We got a Dumbo reference. I love it.
And the golem just turns into a bird.
And that golem can do everything except love.
Oh my god.
That hurts way more than it probably should.
Yeah. Foss method is also super effed up because it's just like, yeah, I'm on a bunch of painkillers, so I'm just gonna stitch myself back together again once I blow up.
He's not trying to slow himself down on the way down, so at a certain point he's gonna be like that calculated thing of how hard you'd have to slap a chicken to cook it, and he'd just explode.
Okay. This is the best thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I really like Hal, just in general. And I don't remember why I liked him. But seeing his reintroduction and stuff is just it's neat because he smiles as much as Yo, even though he has a completely different kind of, I guess, attitude and worldview. But I just think it's neat, and the way that he just interacts with the people who are not in his faction is the best. You guys are in your biggest pickle ever. Want to ride? Oh man.
Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say he's necessarily smug either, but it's you can tell how is views everyone else as beneath him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't exist over 1,000 years after going through mild psychosis at various points along the way without thinking people are a little beneath you.
And when you have a giant oversoul,
you have actual fire as your weapon. Not you make fire. It's actually fire. The essence of fire is your oversoul. So, yeah. I mean, I think he's deserving of being a little bit kind of elitist.
So I have to ask this question: as the characters all try and get their wherewithal together and find a plan as they're falling to their doom, and Horo uses his snowboard to chop off more of Ryu's hair, I have to ask: Would you like a boomerang made out of Ryu's hair?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
I'll take 10.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the new marketable goods when the anime begins.
Man, that's actually like, that's really good.
Never mind your Gengar pillow. You want a Ryu's hair pillow.
God, actually, yeah, like a neck pillow for like traveling, like in
Yeah.
the shape of Ryu's hair. Yeah, make it happen.
Somebody get on that.
Also, nice touches where to show their survival from using their oversouls to hit the ground, having Yo's headphones flying through the air and getting caught by Barson.
Yeah, that's a really good like attention to detail there. Because like yeah, you have like the one page where yeah you see like the headphones falling, and then like immediately shifts to like yeah Basan's hand like catching it once they've recovered.
Just really good comic storytelling.
Yeah. And then like the final like spread of the chapter where like yeah you see this like long road just like in the middle of like kind of a wasteland type area.
Yeah, and it's
Oh
like,
man, we're in
hey,
Ice 21 now.
hey, we did just have Big Guy Bill.
Yeah.
And again, like the which way do we go? And the thing is, no matter what you think, you can't predict what happens next. But that's a tale for another time.
God, Max, that was like a perfect cap.
Yeah, sadly, we still have to talk about how there's 3,000 Leagues to Funbari Hill where Manta feels sad.
Yeah. It's sad boy Manta.
Sad boy Manta, but he's cheered up by hot dogs.
He looks so weak, like different, even for early Shaman King. Though this feels like what he would look like before, like the series started.
Yeah,
I don't know,
like, it looks more like the sort of thing you'd see in like his earlier one-shots, like Anna the Atako and stuff.
Yeah, it really does. Especially like the crying Manta face that like
Yeah.
that especially sticks out.
Blush. Something about the blush is like takes it over the top.
But I mean, it's a volume extra. It was never going to look like the most amazing thing in the world. But it's just kind of because it's clearly been something that he like had to work on it, in his spare time as an extra. Like it has a totally different feel. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your remix track where you've got the sort of Flowers-ish era art, more like Ultimo era, I suppose, because Jun just suddenly looks like she's from Ultimo.
Yeah, she's has that kind of. Yeah, her hair looks like Ultimo's actually, like the character.
Yeah, and it's that face shape with the point down to the chin. Like it's quite telling that by the time like Red Crimson and that comes around, especially with Jet Kusamura drawing, she looks way more like classic Jun over this. Like this was definitely Takai just had a certain style he was drawing in at this point, and the remix tracks look interesting because of it.
Yeah, because like all these would have been drawn around like 2008, 2009, so that would have been.
Yeah, because they're for the Kang Zenbang editions.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be early Ultimo, or like when he was like doing like the pilot chapter for Ultimo.
God, was that when the Kang Zenbang editions came out? I'm not. It's worth mentioning. I'm sure you guys have probably said before. Like I know it would be like Kanzenbang, but it's like the way he writes what they called. It's Kang Zenbang.
Yeah, I always found that super weird.
Yeah, that always weirded me out.
I'm just trying to figure out if June is wearing pajamas or I know it's a two-piece, but like it looks like pajamas.
I think it's just like a screen tone he's used.
Yeah, because it looks like a casual Chinese dress.
It looks it doesn't look it looks like her like they fit into like both legs instead of like just one like skirt.
Yeah, so it's not what she usually wears. It's like different, but it's also I don't think it's pajamas.
It looks like pajamas.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd assume June has a wardrobe.
True.
And the next remix track just straight up spoils.
Yeah, it does. I was like, was this the best time to put this remix track?
I mean, it looks pretty obvious just from like whatever. I don't care. I don't think it's that big of a spoiler.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not like a major thing, but I mean, I also can kind of understand too. It's like, maybe this could have been a remix track a little further down the line, but
to be fair, the reveal too eventually is also already super weird, regardless if you know. So,
true.
Also, it's like more modernish Lucius here is kind of a whiplash from
He looks
how you
weird.
see him
He looks like
earlier.
that One Piece character from the Reverie with like the clock on his chin.
Yeah, but he looks normal here. Or I guess more normal than like what he looked like in the actual volume.
Yeah. So think about how just like it looks even more androgynous somehow.
God, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Though I feel that's like both Yo and Hal look a lot more androgynous in like Takei's current style.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I've seen, yeah.
Okay, guys, can you explain to me who the fuck is Jizo 2000?
It's a character from Butsu Zone.
Oh, okay.
This is basically a little bonus story for Butsu Zone fans. It's like, here's one of the characters now. You get a little glimpse as well at two of the other characters from behind. Just kind of showing that, yeah, in the year 2000, he's still kicking.
Nice.
It's pretty nice. I'm glad they still included it because those characters are still relevant to Shaman King.
Yeah, I mean they're relevant to like the superstar, right?
Yeah, but they didn't need to keep them. It's just nice that they did keep this story. I mean,
Nice.
Okay, VLord, you need to read Butsu Zone and tell us more about this.
I mean, we'll do an episode on Butsu Zone, if not 3 episodes on Butsu Zone. I don't know. You guys just need to buy Butsu Zone.
I guess I'll see if I can find a hookup I found, and then I'll get it.
Or screw it,
For
I'll buy
everybody.
it for you and just send it to you.
I mean, if I can't find it, fine, we'll talk about it. But for right now, then yeah. I mean, I would feel weird making you buy it after I bought you one.
That'd be equivalent exchange.
Oh, true. I'm sure I could find one. But yeah, I guess that brings us to the end of these volumes after a long, long journey.
Yeah, we've been recording for 2 hours and 51 minutes.
God, I really was only going to try and make this like under 2 hours. I'm sorry for being me.
We just had so much fun.
We did. No, seriously, this was the most fun I've had on this podcast in a while.
It makes me wish I was like more easily available to do more of these because I literally could do the whole thing with you guys given a chance. Like, there's so much to do with Shaman King, so many nipples to point at, so many.
You guys have ruined this series for me forever. You know that, right? I can't read it the same way.
I mean, the great thing is there's all the stuff you've yet to see. You've not even seen the giant nipple oversoul yet.
Oh no! No. And
Yet
I
another
don't
reason
even know
for
if
you-
that's the joke or not.
Well, you see, because there's Spirit of Fire, but they don't tell you about the other spirit that's connected to it, Spirit of Nipple.
Okay. You almost
Well, no, I mean every episode's fun, but this was great. I'm really
It was really nice having you on, Maxy.
I'm glad I could be on. It's been real nice to talk about some Shaman King. Nice to just have a chat and go off on tangents and have a good time with it all. Like, this series
Definitely.
means a lot to me, and you all mean a lot to me. So it's been a good time.
Yeah. I guess to not make this podcast even longer, we should probably wrap up here.
indeed.
But yeah, I think these 2 volumes were very good. I think, especially the kind of China arc where we get to see like THICC Boy N and Ren fighting his father and all that.
all the Jiangxi designs. Awesome.
I think if you were to think of when people always talk about when a series gets good as if a series can't be good from the start. But I think like with how people talk about One Piece and say, oh, you've got to get to Arlong Park, I would say to Shaman King readers, you have to get to this storyline in China. Because I think that's the point where everything's really starting to come together, and it only gets better from here.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, once like Ren becomes a fully realized character, and he's not just like the edgy poster boy or whatever, it's just like that's good because we already get these wonderful character moments with all the other people in the cast, but like now that we have like Yo's first rival like fully humanized that's the chef's kiss right there.
Yeah, I mean, he goes from Shadow to Knuckles.
Hey,
I told you, he went from Shadow to Killua. It's okay.
Does Ren chuckle?
You know what? You know what's funny is that Pylon is voiced by Knuckles, so You're close.
Oh God.
Jesus. Oh, what a coincidence, Maxy. That's what Knuckles says when he gets hit. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay,
I thought-
VLord, who's pitching what?
So yeah, I guess we should plug our stuff and get out of here. So, Maxy, our precious guest, thanks again. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Really, the only place it's worth finding me at the moment is on Twitter at Maxy Bee. It's not a Sonic OC, it's just Maxy Bee wasn't available, and so I made it like that.
Nice.
I'm mostly currently reading threads on there at the moment, which is just where I take 4 things that I'm currently reading and like tweet out stuff from them, but do it in a thread so people can mute it if they don't like it. I've been doing the Shaman King sequel series a lot over it. And the one that I'm actually, once I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to actually start doing is going to be Shaman King the Superstar 3 is going to be among them. As is the latest series by a popular Shonen Sunday author, whose name I can't remember. He's another Hiroyuki, actually. He's Hiroyuki something, and the series is Kana Kana. I'm going to be talking about that one. So that appeals to the Sunday people out there, probably.
Oh, Hiroyuki Nishimori. Yeah.
Yes,
Nishimori.
exactly.
Hiroyuki Nishimori.
Yeah, no, because I really enjoyed reading the first few volumes of Kiyokara Orowa, and so I was like, yeah, I'll check out Kana Kana. And, I'm excited to dig into that one.
Nice. Yeah, definitely follow Maxy on Twitter. Their threads are always awesome, and they're just a great member of the manga and comic community, in my opinion.
Oh, just call people out all the time.
But, Marion, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at microwavy, the E before the V. And, yeah, like, I mostly tweet about manga, etc. Whatever, like, I'm into at the moment. I don't tweet that much, but, when I do, it's usually spicy. Last night, actually, I published an article for Toonami Faithful, an editorial on what One Piece means to me. So I'd like to plug that. It's like a retrospective after the 1000th chapter finally hit. And yeah, if you're interested at all in One Piece, I would recommend you give it a read. I have a lot to say. And most of it boils down to it's okay to be a fan of stuff, and it's okay to also criticize the stuff you like, because that's what media is, you know?
Yeah, the true sign of actually liking something on a deeper level is being able to critically look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like I always say, I think freaking Tomorrow's Joe is a masterpiece, but it still had that one bad fight.
Or I mean, Shaman King, like we've been rimming it and having a laugh with it all that, but it's because we love Shaman King, you know?
Yeah.
You have to be able to pick at the things you love, otherwise you get weirdly fragile about it. You know, like most people who read manga online.
True. People who make a complete identity of the stuff they like is like they take any kind of criticism as a personal attack, and that's just not what we intend at all when we look at stuff like that.
No.
So yeah, you can check that out, and all my other projects I have like on a card that's linked on my Twitter. The most prominent of which I guess that I work on the most is actually Sakaki's blog, WSS Talkback. So if you want to talk about that, Sakaki?
Sure. I have it's at wsstalkback.blogspot.com. The most recent thing we have there is just a retrospective of Sunday in 2020, which, man, we got a lot of stuff licensed from both Shaggy and Sunday in particular. Like, it wasn't until I was writing that up that I realized, whoa, okay, Sunday had a pretty good. Existence had a terrible year last year, but Sunday had a pretty good one. So that was nice to write up. And of course, as Marion said, they do reviews. I do translations of interviews. I mean, there are some interesting ones, like I just did with the lead editor of Sunday, Takanori Ichihara, and he had some really, really cool ideas for what he wanted to do with Sunday going forward. And whether you agree or don't agree, I mean, he ever since he got there in 2015, Sunday's been kind of on it was in the danger zone, I want to say early 2010. Then when he came by 2015, it's kind of recovered a bit. So reading his ideas and what he decided, what he wanted to do when he came from guest on to Sunday was really interesting. And then there's a Twitter, which is at WSS Talkback. Yeah, there are lots of Twitters dedicated to magazines, but I can say for once that I can say proudly that we're the only ones that go through the entire magazine every week. The entire magazine. So,
Yeah,
like, if you're always
me and do a tweet about Ninth Wave every time.
I try to, and I do think of you when I do it.
I've been appreciating it because I've not been able to read the magazine lately while I'm budgeting. Like, that's been my connection while I'm waiting for the next chance to get volumes.
Nice.
So, yeah, I do think of when I'm doing Ninth Wave and everybody when I'm doing the magazine, because unfortunately Sunday is kind of the forgotten child when it comes to manga magazines outside Champion, but we forget Champion on purpose.
Poor Champion.
But no, we do talk about everything's in the magazine. My thing has always been with WSS TV is I want to show that there's more to the magazine than whatever Takahashi's doing in Detective Conan. So, and I think we've been doing that. So we're definitely expanding. And as I've always shilled, anybody out there who wants to write something about Sunday or even talk about something Shogakukan or Sunday related, sure, hit us up. We're always looking for guest writers. Then besides that, you can find me at Kirobon, Kiirobon. There's really nothing there that I'm doing. Like, I was going to start reading Black Clover, but now I'm kind of like, maybe I'll read it and keep it to myself or just do text posts, but we'll see. I mean, definitely after I'm done reading World Trigger, which I'm enjoying a lot. If you haven't read World Trigger, you should. It's super good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I love World Trigger too.
I really like the current chapters of World Trigger where they're picking teammates for 2 whole chapters straight.
I do as well. For some reason, like, the Take's chapters are the best.
It's funny because there's literally nothing much to it, but it's like interesting in seeing how Ashihara's thought through the psychology of picking a team.
God, that sounds amazing.
It is. It's like all of the B ranks are like getting mixed up into different squads. Like, it's like they're all playing dodgeball, and like different people are selected as team captains, and they got to go through a pool, and like everyone makes a new squad. It's cool.
It's great. Like one of the captains, who I think's like one of the more stoic, brilliant ones. I wish I could remember his bloody name. Has picked
the guy from Cosmo Squad.
The guy who's picked nothing but snipers.
Oh, Ninomiya?
Yeah.
Yes.
He sounds like a Chad.
He is. Chad. He's voiced by Suabe.
Oh, okay, that's all I need to know.
But yeah, definitely follow Marion and Sakaki on Twitter. They're both awesome, and yeah, give them some love. That they do amazing work. But as far as I'm concerned, you can find me on Twitter at VLordGTZ. I'm usually on there reading various manga and also not sleeping for some reason. I don't know why.
We don't know either.
Telling him to sleep, but he doesn't listen.
I just can't anymore. I've lost hope. I am lost to the void. But I also write quite a few manga and light novel reviews for all-comic.com and also editorials for TanamiFaithful.com. So you can check out all of those on those respective places. And then, aside from the Shaman King podcast, I also host 2 other podcasts. The first of which is the Demon Slayer podcast, which I also do with Sakaki and Marion. We recently hit 4,000 followers, which is insane. So if you are interested in hearing us blabber on about Demon Slayer, go check that out. I think we do a pretty good job. We're on Twitter at DSlayer Podcast. And then I also do a occasional general anime and manga podcast called the Dumb Weebs Podcast. And that's on Twitter at Dumb Weebs Pod. But as far as the Shaman King podcast is concerned, you can find us on Twitter at Shaman King Pod, and we're on basically every podcast platform at this point. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, you name it, we're there. So just look us up, subscribe, and enjoy our episodes. But that does it for this episode, so we will see you guys later.
Later. I don't have a funny joke this time.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of a pun on nipples. Bye.
You guys made me lose my
Nipply
head
doo-doo.
because it's just so small. You guys made me lose my head because it's now so small I can't find it.
We need a remix of the 4 Kids Shaman King opening, except about nipples.
Oh god, no.